All right, folks, please silence your devices, silence your cell phones, other devices, so we can have a quiet meeting. If you need to make a phone call, please exit the chambers. We will start in less than a minute. What do you got, 6:02? All right, at 6:02, I call this meeting of the Saginaw City Council to order. Please rise for the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. Do we have Reverend? Oh, there you are. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to lift you up in prayer in our community. This is my youngest son, Nathan, and he's come with me before, and just wanted him to represent. He's hashtag my bodyguard. I'm also raising funds to be able to continue to feed him, so let me know if you want to give to that account. Anyways, very thankful for him. Join me in prayer, would you, tonight? Gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you with delight in our hearts today for the rain that just makes the day and reminds us that you care for your creation. Father, will you help us to remember how much you care for us, and in doing so, that we would be able to continue to prosper and care for the welfare of the city by loving each other as neighbors. Father, we pray for each of the first responders and those that run toward as we run away from danger. Father, thank you so much for their sacrificial service. And we pray especially for all the families of the graduates that are completing a significant turning point in their life. We pray for them, Father, and as they represent this community and as they go forth to pursue college and career and technical services and whatever the purpose that they will fulfill, Father, I pray that they would take with them the knowledge that this community cares and loves and is supporting and encouraging to them. Father, we give you thanks for this night and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. D is audience participation. That is covered. Any item on the agenda you are allowed to speak to. One of these forms was by the chief. Though we have several items tonight in section 4 that are public hearings, you do not need to fill out a form for a public hearing. I will call folks when it's appropriate. And I'm getting some more information as we speak, which is real-time updates. All right, so one other thing I want to tell council, I've been watching the last 2 council meetings, checking audio and stuff. Audio's good, but some folks on council do not turn their microphone on or sitting way away from it, and you can't hear them on the video. So please make sure when you're talking, council and staff, please make sure your microphone is on and you're talking to it, because I could not hear several folks on that YouTube video. So just a little housekeeping. Moving to the consent agenda, I've had a request to pull E. So we will pull E. Otherwise, we'll go to 2A, action regarding minutes from April 21st, 2B, action regarding renewal memorandum of understanding between Saginaw Police Department and Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD Police Department. C is action regarding right-of-way encroachment agreement with Miller Milling. D is action regarding an amendment of right-of-way encroachment agreement with Fuel City Saginaw. And to F, action regarding approval of and purchase of holiday light displays. Any questions, comments on that action consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve consent agenda items 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2F.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Valerie, second. Cast your votes. Motion passes. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Full house. Thanks for coming, folks. So on to 2E. Consideration and action regarding ordinance 2026.06, amending the Saginaw City Ordinance per section 94-62, parking of certain vehicles prohibited on certain streets. Fire Chief Doug Spears.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. While my name's on this, I must confess I'm a little out of the loop on it. I know at our last meeting this went to the Traffic Safety Advisory Committee, so there are probably others in the room, maybe Councilman Faligi or even ACM Howe that can speak towards what the result of that was.
I'll let the Mayor Pro Tem speak on that. Good point.
Okay, the Traffic Safety Advisory Board met the beginning of the month, and there's a discussion on this, and basically they felt there wasn't really an issue after hearing from police and fire. There's like 2 streets, I believe, that you would have to have 2 dualies across from each other, and that probably isn't gonna happen, and they said that, PD said that they could address that if that did happen. And then it kind of contradicted, you'd be able, technically you're allowed to park an RV in front of your house for 24 hours. Well, an RV most of the time is a dually, so it kind of conflicted with what it said. So that's where the Traffic Safety Advisory Board was with it, on the amended ordinance.
All right, any comments or questions, council, based on that new information?
Yeah, I do.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, there's some amendments I'll want to make to it, so with Councilor Pro Tem here, like he said, Section 1, subsection A, item 2, it says, any vehicle with 6 wheels or more, that's a dually. I recommend that we cross that out because what they're trying to do is stop big commercial vehicles from parking. And item 1, which says anything over a ton, and item 3, which says anything with more than 2 axles, already cover that. So, and last time when we were here, we did, the fire chief and the police chief said there was no safety concern whatsoever. So I recommend that we cross out and eliminate item 2 in
Section 1, Part A, number
subsection
2?
A. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. And then.
Is everybody okay with that? Anybody have any issues on that one? All right, go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah. Then in the same section, Section 1, subsection B, it actually gives what can be parked in front of your house. And it says mobile home, camper trailers, and what I recommend to add is utility trailers and boats. So the add-in is there, utility trailers and boats for that. And my reasoning, and I've talked to a couple other council members and stuff, but my reasoning for that is without this, you can't even park there. And, you know, the same thing with mobile homes or camper trailers. If somebody has, say, going on a long weekend, they want to load their RV, their trailer, say, with their SUVs or motorcycles or whatnot, you know, they're going to have problems. In the same way with boat. If you want to go bass fishing or something, you hook your trailer to your truck, you know, it's going to cause a problem. So I think for the citizens, it'd be best to add those 2 in there for completeness.
Any questions or comments on those, council? Mary, go ahead.
Would an HOA then be able to override that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all these could be overridden by the HOA. HOA would
Yeah, right. Yeah, HOA is at
be
their own
tighter.
risk.
Yeah, more restrictive, right. That's a good way to put it.
And then the last one, I've talked to other people in the same section there. It talks about not to exceed, and especially with RVs and campers and people who say come to visit just for the weekend. Right now it has 24 hours. And if you have somebody that stays over the weekend, they show up on Friday, leave Monday, you really need that extended to 72 hours. And so my recommendation is to strike 24 and put in 72. And that's all my recommendations.
And that's B, right? You're talking
Yep,
about?
B.
Okay. Council, questions or comments on those? Yeah, Brad, go ahead.
Before we move any further forward, I just want to make sure, Bren, is there any issue with those changes?
No, not at all. And you also don't need a complicated motion. It can simply be to approve as modified by Councilmember Lawson.
Okay. And then my next question are for the chiefs. Do y'all have any issues with those changes as they're written or as he's proposed?
No issue. I prefer.
Okay.
And no issues on PD side either?
Okay.
Anything you want to add to this discussion?
No, I mean, that's pretty much the consensus of the Traffic Safety Advisory Board. They didn't discuss changing the hours, but I'm in agreement with it.
Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we accept 2E with the modifications spelled out. that I've read off.
Brock, second? Okay. Who's got your votes? Motion passes. Thanks, folks. All right, moving on. We're at 3A, recognition presentation. Gabe, what do we got? Got a full house here for a reason.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to call Ronnie Martinez to discuss our recent water main break that we all dealt with.
Mayor, Council, thank you guys. It's good to be here this evening. I wrote down a brief timeline or information in hopes that we would be able to answer any questions that you guys or anybody else may have. So I'll start with the city was notified of a main break at approximately 9 a.m. on 4:30. The initial response included verifying the location of the main. At approximately 9:20, the crews mobilized and determined what valves were needed to shut down the line or isolate it. After shutting those valves down, there was still water leaking. The crews expanded the area of isolation. This also did not make a difference, which led us to believe that our maps were not completely accurate. We investigated hiring a contractor to install a wet tap. This would give us an additional valve to isolate that area. Unfortunately, due to the conditions, the amount of water and the size of the pipe, the contractor deemed that it was unsafe and unworkable, which led us on to move to going back and verifying everything that had been done. We went back, counted all the rounds on every valve, made sure that there was nothing that had been missed. Due to the amount of people out in the field, we wanted to make sure that maybe one of the newer guys hadn't turned a valve and that something wasn't completely off. That turned out to show us that everything had been verified already and the rounds were complete. So at approximately 3 a.m., it was determined that the best course of action was to shut the system down, to allow the pressure to die down enough that the pumps could keep up and then we could work the leak. So shortly after doing this, the pressure did go down, the pumps did do what they were supposed to, and fortunately, briefly after that, there was a valve that then became visible to the crews. So as soon as this happened, we killed the valve that became visible. Well, that valve had been paved over, so it wasn't noticeable to anybody before this point. And so as soon as we turned that valve off, we seen that it killed the water to that area. And so once that happened and we were able to kill the water, immediately we reached out to the crews and told them, turn the pumps back on, let's pressure the system back up. And so as soon as this took place, we had the crews get started on the repair. Once that repair was complete, we began flushing, taking residuals around town, making sure that the water didn't have any indications that there was contamination. So the residuals taken around town reflected that actually some of the residuals were higher, possibly because the amount of flushing and the new water coming into the system. So we have to wait 24 hours for those samples that were taken around town. They're done in representative areas of each town. So we don't want to take all the samples in just one area. We want to make sure that each area of town is being represented by a sample. And so we took those to a state-approved lab. 24 hours later, it comes back that all the samples were good. The water was not contaminated or compromised. And so during this time, our public relations team, Pedro and his assistants, they were working with us and making sure that everything was done as TCEQ required. And so shortly after that, the repair was complete, and we started to move into a phase of what could we have done different, and what could we do in the future to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And so through that investigation, we found additional valves that are missing in the system that had been covered up. And then recently, very recently, this morning, our Public Works Director found a document that dated back to 1981, an as-built, and that gave us further clarity on actually what's going on in the system. So we're hoping to work with our partners at Kimley Horn and updating our maps, getting everything up to par and making sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. I don't want you guys to think that that's the end of it. We're going to continue to work this area and make sure that we've got all our bases covered moving forward.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is there
Any questions for Ray?
questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to say that what you all did and jumping on this and keeping the citizens updated is phenomenal. So very, very appreciative.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Mayor?
Yes.
Want to thank our volunteers who helped come out to distribute water. So I believe we handed out about 28 pallets of bottled water out back behind City Hall here. So thanks to our CERT volunteers that came out. We also had some city employees who worked around the clock. Karen Saldana from the police department on a Saturday came out just to help pass out water. So everybody pitched in. We're very appreciative. And we know it's a really annoying situation to have a boil water notice, but I feel like at least the folks that came to pick up water were very understanding, very appreciative of staff given the circumstances.
No, thank you, Gabe. We appreciate that. We echo that. It was a fantastic response. It's an unfortunate situation, but we have to deal with that, and y'all stepped up. So I was very proud of how the city responded. It was fantastic. And I appreciate you echoing the communications department as well. They really helped.
Absolutely.
I appreciated Jared doing a video in the middle of the night. You know, that was very important to keep folks just apprised of what's going on. So that meant a lot.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, one group to add, the Citizens Police Academy alumni came out as well. So we're appreciative for everyone.
And so, if you guys don't mind, just because I'd like to take a brief second, just because in these kind of situations, it really takes a lot of tenacity and grit to see this thing through. I mean, literally, these guys showed up in the morning and worked into the next day and didn't leave home until after their shift would have been done the following day. So if you guys don't mind, I'd love to take this moment real quick just to kind of tell everybody thanks.
Bring everybody up here.
And
Come
so,
on.
yes, guys, if you guys would make your way up, please. I want to apologize ahead of time if I miss anybody. So I want to apologize if I miss anybody because there was a lot of moving parts that night. But on behalf of myself, the Public Works Director, our Assistant Public Works Director, Jared Kersey as well, I'd like to just go through the names of guys that were there and took place. So C.J. Ross, Jeremy Cutler, Wes Orton, Jared also was there, Austin Jones, Roberto Bachiller, Jay Cisneros, Angel Sanchez, Dusty from the Street Department, Brad Morgan, Moise, Juan Perez, Ryan, Bill Hurst, Henry Tritton, Glenn Reeves, Pedro, Alina, and Kevin. Lee also was there. Gabe also was there. Our fire department and police. Honestly, we couldn't control that kind of situation without you guys. So big thanks to everybody that was involved. And again, I do apologize if I missed anybody.
Ronnie, I heard that we called in a retired guy as well to get some information. Didn't he come out and do some institutional knowledge?
Oh, he was.
I did
he was
call
there.
everybody I could think of, including my brother-in-law from many years ago. But Randy Edwards came out, stayed for 8 hours with us, trying to.
Special thanks to Randy for sure.
Here, here.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, y'all. Gabe, do we have anything else under recognitions? That's what we got. All right, outstanding. On to B, presentation of proposed murals at Bailey Boswell and Saginaw Boulevard. Louisa, there she is. Welcome, Louisa.
Just give it some time while Greg pulls up the presentation. Okay. You want to just scroll through then? I don't know if they'll give you an option to. Okay. Can you go back to the first one? Or, never mind. Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Luisa. As their staff liaison, I'm here to speak on behalf of the Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board and present a project proposal that they have. For context, for those listening at home and people not too familiar with Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board, they are a commission whose purpose is to enhance the appearance of the community by making recommendations to council as to how to allocate the voluntary donations we receive through water bills for that purpose. One of the main ways in which they implement that purpose/mission is through public art. So the murals that you see at the water tanks of Willow Creek Park, manholes, and fire station one here down McElroy. Today I'm here to discuss their most recent project focus and proposal to add a mural to the pillars at the overpass of Bailey Boswell and Saginaw Boulevard. The Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board is tentatively considering this project and wanted to first obtain feedback from council, given the large scope and logistics that would be involved. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So just really quickly, location was narrowed down to that because of three main things. It is really close to the north city frontier, where people entering Saginaw get that first impression of the city. So it serves as a gateway entrance. It is a road with high traffic, so that is going west, eastbound on Bailey Boswell, but also traveling north and southbound on Saginaw Boulevard. And lastly, it is a really large structure that could serve as a great opportunity for branding and just overall enhancing that area that people often, thank you, that area that people often stop by when there's train blockades. Again, this is all tentatively discussed at the Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board meetings, but they've narrowed it down to majorly 3 tentative themes for the design, leaning majorly towards native North Texas flowers. Trains and grain is one possible focus. However, the color scheme of those wouldn't lend themselves to have great contrast with the concrete on the pillars, and we don't think it would be received as well by people that are, sitting on the train tracks waiting for the train to pass by if they turn to their left and then there's a train in the mural as well. Another possible theme is rustic Texas-Wild West, just because it fits with everyone's Texan identity and anyone passing by, because we have a lot of people that drive by through that road that are not Saginaw residents, could identify themselves with the mural. And again, lastly, the tentative theme that the board's leaning towards right now is the native flowers or birds of the area, just because it is one of those themes that would rarely, hopefully, have negative reception from the public. So in getting a more accurate idea of the impact that this project could have financially, we, in the last couple of months, have obtained quotes from 4 artists to this point. The quotes requested pricing to cover all 9 pillars of the bridge, full coverage, and just kind of give us an idea of what it will be to have a more complex design in comparison to something more simplistic. At this point, again, Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board is not necessarily wanting to cover all 9, just we got the quote for all of them to have an accurate estimation. If we went for a lower cost range, averaging it from the 4 artists, the price could start at $115,000 and could get us closer to $300,000, really depending as to coverage, space, if we do all the 9 pillars, what artist, lifting equipment that they have, and just the size of their crews. And then a higher cost range can start you at $137,000 and get you a little bit closer. So in a way, the ranges are similar. I think it would majorly come down to the subjects that we decide and how complex we want to get in terms of elements that we add into each pillar. So just to kind of help you visualize what we mean by a lower cost range mural, here are some examples. So lower cost range doesn't have to be necessarily this, could entail, instead of having a hyper-realistic flower that looks like it's popping out of the mural, of the pillar, we have just shapes that are meant to represent that flower, a little bit more bold, with bright colors that offer that contrast to serve, or I guess, in place of having something hyper-realistic. Lower cost range could also mean not a full coverage, where you do something not hyper-realistic, or you do something hyper-realistic and maybe just cover one area, or just have a subject and not have a background color on the rest of the concrete. For the higher cost range examples, we have something like this, right, where you're looking at covering all of the background of the pillar, having a hyper-realistic subject, or multiple, in this case, the flowers and the bird popping out, and it wraps around all sides of the pillars. This one could technically be a lower cost. The thing that makes it be a high cost example for a mural is the fact that the flowers and insects are very hyper-realistic and they look like they're popping out. But again, we could really easily bounce off of low cost, high cost, decide to cover all 9 pillars, or maybe just have 2 main ones for the point of focus. Another example could be these that maybe don't look like a photograph, but they're pretty realistic, they're big, and they have a very bright background in the back. And all of these are just examples of overpasses or bridges or pillars that are nearby roads that could serve as something that you can look at when you stop by for traffic closely, but you can also see from really far away, and potentially incorporate some form of welcome to Saginaw signage for those driving in. So, if this was something that council were to be willing to allow to continue, because again, the funds will have to come from the unallocated funds for the board, so we will have to have your approval and just kind of blessing. The next potential steps for this project would be, of course, to finalize the size and theme that we would want, coverage, and get community polling when it comes to those themes, either through our social media, website, multiples, just to make sure that we cover all ends and ensure that people have a say as to what they would like to see on that mural, and then obtain final pricing, something a little bit more accurate as to what we finalize. Go through that quote approval, and then reviewing and approving a design before starting the project. Again, the reason that I'm here is because, as you've seen, it can get to a really big price range, and it would incorporate a lot of moving parts, and we wouldn't want to continue to entertain artists or, spend money on renderings or informal renderings from artists if we're not sure this is something that could come to fruition or that council may have reservations for. In addition, because of that price range, again, no scope has been finalized. We do think it's a great opportunity to ask for a collaboration from the city, because we don't, in an ideal scenario, want to spend all of those unallocated funds. Revenue from donations is really changing every year, so we want to keep some safety in our budget for rainy day funds or any other additional projects. But I'm open to any questions, feedback, discussion.
Let's start down here with Mary and just go down the dais, guys. Mary, your thoughts?
I think it's a great idea. Some of those were so overpowering and so big and huge. I didn't really like those and that's really good because they would be more expensive. But I thought that was a little too much. That one you just showed before the bird, I like that one. And then the one that just covered half of it, I like that one too. So, but I think it's a great idea, and we wouldn't necessarily have to do it all in one year. We could we not just do every other one, and then
Correct.
maybe the next year do the rest of them?
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention that the artist did propose a phasing out process where we maybe just do the 2 pillars closest to Saginaw Boulevard, or maybe we do the closest ones to Saginaw Boulevard, have a bigger subject, a little bit more full coverage, and then just kind of branch out into the other ones to incorporate them and not have to do full coverage in all of them. So we can do that. The only downside is if we spread it out for more than maybe 3 years, the ones that were painted first won't look as fresh as the last
Right,
ones. But
that's true, too.
But
But
just
it's
things
a
to
great
consider.
idea. I
Yes,
think
thank you for
they're
bringing it
so
up.
pretty.
Sean?
I mean, I kind of agree. I like the half. I think that's good, but
I am concerned because the feedback that I hear from, surrounding communities, not Saginaw, but the art it's really split. I mean, it's kind of a controversial, either you're really for it or you're really against it. And what I always think about with projects like this is, how does it look now versus how does it look 10 years from now? And so I would be more willing to spend a little bit less to keep some money so that we can maintain it later. Have some updates later, have it refreshed every 3 to 5 years, something like that, is kind of where I stand on it.
Okay.
Brack?
I'm similar. Also, how resilient is this to graffiti, or if somebody were to
Yeah, so
deface it?
the quotes do incorporate a top coat that can easily be power washed. But again, there's never a guarantee that some of the paint won't come out and we'll have to pay a little bit for the upkeep or repainting. Fortunately, we've never had any of our murals vandalized. We hope that the location would make it a little bit harder for people. Because of high traffic, you really have to go out of your way to walk up to the median. But again, if someone really wants to vandalize something, they do go out of their way. From the artists that we received quotes from too, none of them reported ever having their work vandalized. So it might be something where just the given respect to someone's work that adds that extra layer of protection. All hypothetical.
Did any of them give you an indication of these are going to look vibrant for 5 years, and then after another 5 years, you're going to need to refresh them, or is that every 2 years?
The general timeline is a little bit over a decade.
Okay.
Yes, depending to the sun exposure. One of those artists has done multiple of our big murals in the city, including the water tank at Willow Creek Park, and that has, been there a minute, hasn't needed maintenance so far yet. So it really does depend just on weather. Looking at a little bit over 10 years.
What's our oldest mural? Anybody remember? Which would be our first?
The first one would have been.
These JRs?
I believe so, but.
And how long ago was that?
Sorry, I don't know.
Might remember.
Probably
Fire station.
Fire station was like 2019, but I'm sorry, I don't have the data. on it.
I'm just curious because it looks good.
The one at the grain elevators closer to 820 is pretty old too, and we did a repainting, I think, like around 2016, or like an addition to it, and we haven't had the need to repaint it. But again, I'll have to look back on my information.
Sure. Valerie, your thoughts?
I like the half ones too. I think they'd be pretty. I do.
Nick?
Yeah,
Turn your mic on.
Yeah, that's what the beautification committee funds for, is to beautify, and, depending on what they pick and stuff. It looks like it's gonna be somewhere between 12.8 and $13,000 per post, or per thing, because you got 9 of them.
If you split it evenly, I will say the ones closer to Saginaw Boulevard are more, because they're way bigger. But the 9 pillars include the smallest ones that are off to the edges.
Gotcha. But I do think that if we do it, we'd probably need to, I don't know how they do it, but I would be more interested in support a investment over time to eventually finish it out, not just 2. I don't know if we could do it in 3 years, though. I don't know what's in that fund and things. I know they can't eat all of that at one time.
No. As of the most recent update I have from our finance director, we're currently working with around $139,463. Hence, it would need to be phased out, and why we wanted to propose a collaboration
Yeah.
with
But they
city.
already got commitments of other things that they're doing.
The only commitment that we have so far for unallocated funds is the item that you guys saw earlier in the consent agenda that the board decided to approve funds for.
But yeah, I'd be supportive of it.
Paul?
I like the half pillars, and since the county helped pay for this bridge, let's go to the county and see if we can get some contributions for this as well.
I think they contributed a lot, contribute to it.
We can always ask. Sure.
Yeah.
My thought, I think I wouldn't want to start with 9. I'd start with 2 or 4. That makes a lot of sense. And the ones that you said close to Saginaw Boulevard, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it'd be fantastic. I'm amazed at the art that you've shown. Some of these are spectacular. I would do if it were just me, I would do the first 2 or 4, and I'd do them all the way to the top, and it's nice that we won, and then let them sit for a couple of years and see what we think, and come back later, and if we want to do more, great. I'm sure we'd ask the artist how easy it to match, going forward over multiple years. It probably would be, but no, I think it's a great use of these funds. I think
And
it's
you'll
a
bring
great
the
idea.
picture. You'll bring us some pictures back that they would.
Yeah, of course, before anything's approved, you guys will have to look at it again.
And integrate Saginaw somewhere in there too.
I still want, on the bridge, on the north side of the bridge, I want Welcome to Saginaw. And I've asked for that for years. I know TxDOT has not been helpful with us, but I still want to keep pushing that.
You can't put something on there even though it's tick?
Yeah, TxDOT has held us up. Gabe, I know you've talked to them some.
Yeah, I think we had talked about like illuminated or
Something, yeah.
backlit letters, and I know Randy's brought it up. I don't know if we have an update.
Trenton's, I mean, they're still working with TxDOT. It went from not having to have a permit to having to have a permit, and they want a traffic control plan, and so we're just kind of hopping hurdles right now.
Okay.
Why can't we just paint it in there?
We need to, at some point, we need something on there. Absolutely. It screams for something that says Welcome to Saginaw.
Make it look
That's
nice.
an arch, a gateway to our city.
I know.
It would be spectacular. So we will please keep pushing that. I know it's painful, but let's keep pushing that some. So,
Yeah.
on a tangent, sorry, but I think you've got some positive feedback. Of course, council would want more details and final numbers, but I think maybe doing the first 2 or 4 would be a consensus from this group, and then we'll see, and from there, in the future, we can debate other stuff.
So just to recap, everyone's kind of leaning towards a half coverage kind of thing with maybe like 2 big ones towards
I
Saginaw
would-
Boulevard.
I would, the ones that are close, I would want those fully covered. That would be my thought.
The
Maybe
big ones.
do a mixture.
2 big ones?
That's the first thing you
Yeah.
see, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
Okay, so maybe the 2 big ones
Facing
covered as
out.
we can, yeah.
Okay.
And with the Welcome to Saginaw on top of it, see, that would just bring it all together.
It would look great.
It would, yeah.
Is native flowers still a theme that you guys would want to see in there, or is there other ideas that council might think would be good to look
What is
into
Wild
before?
Rustic West?
You're looking at Longhorns, Cowboys, Sunset, kind of that like Wild West vibe that you see in other Fort Worth murals, but
Right.
I like the idea of the flowers, and I like the hyper-realistic. It just, it pops so much more than like this picture versus the one with the, yeah. That one just, as soon as you showed that one, I was like, holy cow, that's just incredible work. I think a half-high version of that, where it's hyper-realistic down around the base, and then you kind of fade into a sky color or something. I think that could look really nice.
okay. Well, we'll take that feedback and
Right.
try to come back with finalized quotes.
Great. Thank you,
Great.
Lisa.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, 3C, workshop regarding signage across all city parks. Susie Victor Trevino where's Susie? Susie, see someone? There she is.
Oh, she is.
Okay, I saw her.
Okay. Mr. Mayor and Council, so this is the second portion of our project Sign Me Up. This is the Parks Edition. I'm glad y'all laughed at that. So the purpose of the park system is used for the parks, recreation area, and trails are for us to guide, inform, protect, and educate visitors. We have 7 parks within the City of Saginaw system. We have Brian Schwengler Park. That was recently updated in 2026, so it's a very nice facility. And Highland Station was last updated the main playground in 2023, along with Kiwanis Park. Opal Joe Jennings Park was also updated in 2026, and it's a very beautiful outcome as well. Sagewood was last updated in 1999, so just yesterday for some. For some others, it was quite a while ago. We have William Houston Park, and that was updated in the 90s as well, so I know the Parks Board has a vision to update those with their Parks Master Bond that they just passed and their master plan. And then Willow Creek obviously has very different portions of it that create it. The new park was updated in 2020. That's the inclusive park that was installed. And then the North Playground was installed in the 90s. So vast differences within the park, but I know that that's one of their targets as well. But we also have Knowles Drive that was updated. So Willow Creek Park has a lot of changes. And so we think that some of that signage needs to be updated to better complement the new infrastructure that has been built. So with that, we would recommend that our first goal with the parks be replace all existing park signage. That could include gateway, wayfinding, regulations, and trail markers. But that way, we're not creating any new signage opportunities without replacing the existing ones, because it would be a little silly to have a brand new one next to a vintage one. That we will get to some of those examples. Our second goal with that will be, once all of that existing signage is replaced, we would create any new ones that we want to have. So our first example for some gateway signage, we call it vintage nowadays so that it's nicer, but we have some signs that have some rust. We have some signs with outdated phone numbers. We have some signs with updated websites. We have signs that do not complement one another within that same park. So Willow Creek Park, for example, has those updated, again, lack of word, updated blue signs, but underneath, if you can see, they have more of that cabin feel. So we have those two types of signs within the park system of Willow Creek Park. As you can see, some of those camping type signs need some work and are falling over as well. Another point that I want to make, even if we're with the same style, so for instance, the William Houston Memorial Park, the Willow Creek Park, and the Sagewood Park, you can tell that they're all the same style, but they all have different words on them. So Sagewood says, "Welcome to Sagewood Park," whereas Willow Creek Park says, "Welcome, facility rental, call here." And then William Houston, I can't even read that, but I think it is wayfinding for pavilion, picnic area, and all the other above, but that's the only sign there. So again, when it comes to signage, we want to make sure that we have conforming signs when it comes to the criteria that's on the signs, the material that the sign is made out of, and just the overall look. So for example, one of the more updated signs that we have in the park system are the switchyard signs. Those are really nice. We walk down a few feet and then we have those rustic Willow Creek Park signs. So it's really important that if we're trying to, have a event system where we're attracting more tourism, especially at the switchyard, that we have nicer signage to let people know where to park, where not to go, and where they're at. Some examples that I included on the right side are just some cities that have a new park layout system. CHOP is the city of Watauga, and then the bottom is Traverse City. So that's just a potential of what they could look like. Next, we have trail markers. They all say 0.1 mile. So if you're walking through any of the system, you don't know what 0.1 mile you got to after the other. So we want to have something maybe a little bit similar to the right, where the potential is where you know what trail system you're on, you know how long that specific trail is, and you know what you've accomplished, because we all know that when you're running, it's all about how many miles you run. So there are a lot of things that we can add to the trail markers so that we can identify and help people who are visiting and utilizing the trail markers, the trails, and all of the systems. Next, we have wayfinding, and that's just where are we? Where are we going? We do have some very basic when it comes to the map system and where some things are. They're not bad, but they could be better. I think that if we match this with our overall city wayfinding, it would look more like we did it on purpose. Another category is regulatory and safety. These are very important, especially if we're talking to fire and police. Some of these say no trespassing. Some of these may say, hey, don't park here. Some of these may say park is open from X amount of time to another hour. If you see on the bottom example, we have 4 different color signs, 4 different shapes. Again, it doesn't seem like it's important, but when you're looking at the details, they really make a difference. We see the Highland Station Park is a little battered up. I don't think that's due to us, but they're just things that can be updated. Overall, we have some signs that look different. So for example, that right Saginaw one, it's very tiny. It's probably shorter than I, and I'm pretty short. And then we have the large 6-foot, 7-foot signs. So you can't see the ones that are too short, and we really want to make sure that people are paying attention, especially if we're talking about safety. So on the right side, we just have a simple example of these signs can be super simple, but they just have a purpose. They have a clear, this is open from this hour to this hour, you know what park you're at, and you know what the rules are, so that you know what signs you're looking for. So we have some possibilities of what we have drafted. Again, these are very conceptual, they're not final. We just kind of wanted to show y'all a nice pretty picture of what we can. We know that during the first portion of this exercise, y'all discussed that y'all really liked the cord and steel. So we decided to stay with that. If you look at that first top example, it actually has a train in it. So one of the things that we can do is implement those train and grain details that y'all requested. Have a trail named after it. And that way you know you're on the Caboose Trail or the Grain Trail. So those are different things that we've been looking at to try to integrate, and that way we're sticking on keeping the culture of Saginaw within the updated version of some of this. We have that example on the right where we would show just what the map looks like, and that's, again, it's all conceptual, but it's just to try to illustrate to visitors, to regular users, hey, this is where you're at. If you're running a mile and then you need to stop by, you know, the volleyball facility or the tennis courts, or I heard pickleball is the rage as well, they know where to go. We can be as detailed as we want, or we can be as not detailed as we want as well. But again, just conceptual and just some things that we've drafted, but we just wanted to kind of show you what the potential is for our city. So today we are going to make the recommendation as staff that we begin Project Sign Me Up Phase 1 by installing and replacing all of our existing park signage. As a whole, this piece of the puzzle is the largest within our city. We only have like 3 gateway signs. So replacing them wouldn't make such of a difference as replacing all of our parks, especially if all of our facilities are newer, on the newer side. I know Randy is very eager to replace some of the signs, and he has replaced some of those signs, especially more so the ones that are more regulatory, you know, when it comes to pickleball courts and things of that nature. We want to make sure that our city stays safe, and so those would be the priority. That would be our recommendation, to begin with replacing those first. Why? Again, new infrastructure calls for new signage that can complement them well. Reconstruction of Knowles, now that it's complete, that's another real big component. A lot of people have been talking on Facebook about, you know, they're really excited about the roads. Hopefully we'll get more visitors in. I know Cinco de Mayo, the event was really great. So we're attracting more people. We're having more people on the roads and the parks, and we really think that signage would be an element that makes an impact. Lastly, the Parks Bond was approved. So they were awarded $6 million. And with that, like I said, they're trying to update the remaining parks. So we think that, you know, if we receive your blessing today, we would go to the Parks Board next and ask for funds so that they can contribute to the signage and the signage plan overall. So with that, I'm going to open up for any questions or any concerns y'all may have.
Go ahead, Mary.
So does the Parks Board in the Parks Master Plan have this idea of replacing the signing already in their master plan or not?
So they didn't mention it in their master plan. At the end, before we were about to complete it, we discussed that with Kimley Horn, but we wanted to have it as part of the entire signage plan first and not necessarily within the Parks Master Plan. That way it could complement all of the existing or future signage within the city, citywide.
We're also happy that the bond did pass, and I don't know if they already had specific plans about how to use that $6 million and whether or not they would have room for this in that $6 million.
Yes. So I did speak to the Public Works Director and the Parks Secretary, and they are both in favor of allowing some contributions as long as the Parks Board gives our blessing. So we are confident that we'll have some funding left over to utilize that for the parks.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, so, I mean, one thing I would like to see is like a structure of, like specifically that it follows these guidelines as far as, I want it all to be unison, right, across the whole, just like how we saw. I would like for that to be, including the regulatory signs where applicable. So color scheme or whatever it is, just so that we have that ahead of time before we start just running away with signs. That's
Yes, so that would be part of that Parks Master Plan. We've gotten some quotes on some of them already, but we kind of just wanted to see how y'all felt about it, introduce them in stages. But once we get approval, we'll bring that up to the budget this season. Hopefully, if we get some Parks Board contribution, we'll have less needed from the general fund.
Right, but just as far as how they look in the aesthetic, just a structure.
Yes, that is the goal of Project Sign Me Up. Yes, sir.
Okay, a couple of things. One, I really liked on the point markers, how some of the other cities put like a location on it. So if somebody had to call 911 or something, they could look at the closest marker and say, hey, I'm at marker 521017. And that would allow police to know where to go or emergency services to respond to. I'd also like to see us do QR codes on the wayfinding, the trail markers, and the regulatory and safety, so that if we're doing, if we have a list of rules, we not only have it printed there on the sign, but then somebody can snap the QR code, they can go straight to, it sends them straight to the website. It shows the rules and regulations and sort of the uses.
Yes.
Right there, it's very convenient.
Yes,
So-
we have thought about that. I think that's going to be a great tool, especially so that we don't have the website or the phone number locked in.
Yes.
And that way people can go directly, say, scan this QR code. I think the idea is especially, so you can't see it on the top one of that dog right under regulatory and safety. They do have a
Yes.
QR code there. It's very large, but it doesn't complement the existing signs. So what we would want to do is, for example, that middle one that says Willow Creek, that would serve more as a informational one where you can scan and, hey, you're here, but you can also request this pavilion to be rented through this website, or we may even have some kid activities that they can follow this specific trail and it be an interactive. So we're thinking about all the possibilities, but yes, we will definitely follow that recommendation.
Okay. And then lastly, I want to make sure that we don't jump too far ahead on the parks signage and then go, well, this is practical and good for the parks, but it's not really practical for our gateway signage. And so we're going to have to come up with something different for the gateway signage. I want to make sure that the park signage and the gateway signage complement each other and we don't change designs in the middle, or even though the gateway signage is probably going to be a little bit further off.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yes, sir. So the idea would be, again, we're just introducing everything. If y'all are okay with us just financially beginning with the ideas of the parks, we would install those first. But everything is going to be a package because we want to make sure we use the same company so that we're all on the same page in regards to the wayfinding, gateway, and parks. Part of that would be investing a big portion so that whomever is developing this with us, they know our vision, they know what we want, most importantly, to stick true to who we are as a city, but also just giving some modern updates to that, right? But part of that would be having everything in a physical plan, and once we have that, some companies even give you an outline of, hey, this is the dimension, these are the tools you need. So if you provide more of a financial budget, you're able to get that. But if we think, once we get these budgets in front of y'all, if y'all want to phase it out and just do, hey, let's just come up with some ideas first, then we can do the physical plans, all of that. But if we want to do that all as one, we can. Again, that will come afterwards. That'll be a formal budget request, and we'll have a formal bid on that because it's past the threshold. But with that, does anybody else have any questions?
Anything you want to add?
Brett got mine about the markers,
Okay.
where they're at.
Nick?
Yeah, a couple things. One is, whatever the material is needs to be long-lasting. And then second is, I'd have to see a price, just an overall price. And then third, even though the bond was approved, there were stipulations within that bond of what the money's gonna be used for, like, you know, updating all of our play equipment, things like that. I wouldn't approve anything until I was 100% certain that we could meet those obligations to our citizens, because that's what they voted for.
Yes, sir. I think that all of those would be the priority for sure. And then anything left over, as long as the Parks Board gets their
Right.
blessing and we get y'all's blessing, I think that's what we're allocating for the second half. But again, we'll present it to y'all during budgets. So if y'all decide to fully fund it yourself through the general fund or through XYZ fund, then we can go that route as well. We'll give you different options.
Yeah, I will say that I think that we need to get the standard now.
Yes.
And as we upgrade those park areas, as we upgrade those, that should be included into that price. We probably, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yes.
We should have been doing that on the other parks that areas we did, and that we'd be so much farther along.
Yes, sir.
I do agree, we need to get the standard down now so that when we do those, we can.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Paul?
Okay, I like the distressed metal with the stonework. I think we need to incorporate some lighting, whether it's backlit or kind of a mix or whatever, because you drive by the parks at night and you can't see the sign anyway. And Brack beat me to the punch. Definitely on the mile marker signs, some way to identify for first responders to get there. Because otherwise, people are in a panic. They're not going to know where they're at.
Yes, sir. Yes. And we have discussed with some of the people that we have been receiving bids from, lighting as well. So that is something that they cover. They would itemize different components like that individually so that y'all could see them as a line item, most likely.
Right, yeah, and I think a lot of people said uniformity is the key. I think we've got a lot of different signs now. We've got a chance now to make everything uniform and look great, so I think it's a great
Yes.
opportunity.
And we'll make sure the newest logos are on there, or if we want to avoid logos on some of them, we can do that. But we just want to make sure that these signs can last us a few years on the better side.
I did want to say on the QR codes, you can get custom QR codes too. So you could get a City of Saginaw QR code.
Anything else for Susie? All right, thank you. Appreciate
So,
the update.
do we have y'all's blessing to prioritize the parks portion of it first? Obviously, we're going to have it all as a package, but we just wanted to make sure that when we're talking to our different vendors, that we want to prioritize financially those phase one as the parks. So we're okay with that?
I think yes. Okay. Everybody okay with that? I think so.
Okay, thank y'all for your
Thanks,
time.
Susie. All right, 3D, discussion regarding sale of old street signs. Director of Public Works, Randy Newsom.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. we're starting to accumulate quite a pile of existing signs, old signs, street signs. And there was some desire from one of the council members, I don't remember which one, Councilman Lawson, what to do with these old signs rather than just to throw them away. So staff wants to come to council now tonight and see if y'all can, how do y'all want us to get rid of them? Sell them, auction them to the residents? What do y'all, what's
I
your
say
desire?
put them up for sale at the farmer's market.
You think we could sell many of them? You think we've had that much interest?
I don't know. I don't think people will know that they're for sale, or we would sell them.
Right.
We've had some inquiries.
Inquiries,
into it.
okay, sure.
I think some of the councilmen have had people ask.
Hey, why not?
Sell it and put the money back to the new signs.
Yeah. I mean, people want them. I have no problem with that.
Just,
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Figuring out how to sell them,
just sell them outright.
sell them outright? That sounds
Get
great.
pictures, run them on the internet, put them on the thing, say, hey, we got these for sale. Put them like Paul said there.
First
put 'em
come,
on-
first served.
I was gonna say, is there a way to do like an auction, but have it where, yeah, it's like fair, so you bid and then you raffle based on, whatever, or maybe you set a price but do a raffle, so that way it's not, because there's gonna be certain people that are gonna fight for their street that they lived on, and if they have more money, then that's not, I want it to be kind of fair.
Right.
So I think it'd be cool to have a set price, but then if you have one that has like 200 people want to buy it, then do a raffle, so that way it's kind of fair. That's my opinion.
Do you want to be fair, or do you want to be capitalism? I sort of like capitalism, but,
I mean,
First come, first serve is fair.
I mean, if we can sell these and then you use the proceeds to ramp up the replacement of the street sign program that we're doing now, I'd really like to see that, because I'm kind of jealous because my street doesn't have a new one yet. Going into my neighborhood, it does. but-
Yeah, so full capitalist would be auction. That would be the full capitalist way to go. The highest bidder gets it. So,
I have no problem with that.
Auction?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that? However you want to do that. Whatever's easiest for y'all, that makes sense to me.
Make
Let's
sure
sell
you
'em off.
publicize it, whatever you do.
We've got a top-notch communications team now that will take care of that. So,
Okay.
all right?
Thank you.
You good? Thanks, sir. All right, 3E, work plan update. City Manager Gabe Room. Welcome, Gabe.
Mayor and council, we've got our monthly update of our work plan projects. I think it's loaded. So I'm just going to hit on probably the changes since last time. We do this each month. There was a recommendation last time to give kind of a status update. So Deeksha added a little button, which I kind of like, so you can see on the project. We've got on track, completed, in progress, that sort of thing. Employee personnel manual update, we've got a meeting scheduled with Air Mason, which is a company that was selected. We've got like a draft set of policies that we just need to review with the directors a little further. I think that review meeting is set for sometime next week, so we'll keep refining that. The end result would be eventually to come back and have the personnel manual adopted by the city council. So we're on track with the manual update. Bond communication, informational awareness. We might say this is complete, although I had mentioned this to the mayor. I think maybe going forward, we do some sort of a progress report to let people know. And we had, all the propositions were approved, as you're aware. But I think a lot of times, bond elections, there's the vote, and then we sort of lose track or people forget. So I think maybe a mailer at some point in the future to probably to close out or give a status update on our 21 bonds, because we're really moving through that. This phase of McElroy is about the last big chunk of the 21 bonds. We haven't started construction, but anyway.
I think that, I think it's a great idea, and also continuing on with the videos and stuff.
Yeah, videos, I tell you what, people won't or don't prefer to read, which kind of pains me because I like to read. But the videos drive the point home, and our communications folks do a good job.
Yeah, I
So
think if we get the communication to you know, you don't have to do every one every quarter, but when
Right.
we have good progress, like we're breaking ground, say, on industrial, whatever, do a
Yeah.
video on it.
I think that's
I
a
think it'd
great,
be
I
excellent.
think a great idea.
I'd rather spend more money on the digital stuff than actually printing something and mailing it, because postage is expensive and
Yeah.
half of it ends up in the trash.
Yeah, that's true.
No, good idea.
The Friends of the Park, I think the Parks Board has had some discussion, maybe even at their last meeting, about this project. So my understanding, it's well underway. They're looking at bylaws and founding documents and that sort of thing. So we're on track. Tree assessment, no major milestones other than I think Louisa has got some estimates from a couple vendors. So that'll be something that'll be coming your way in the future.
So we're halfway through Q2. So have we finished Q1 of research and?
Yeah, I think
process?
Louisa got estimates from a couple of these vendors, and I think the next step would be a council workshop.
Council update?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably don't need to rehash this, so we just discussed park signage. You remember before the previous workshop, we discussed gateway, entryway signage, so we'll keep that ongoing. Believe Pedro is out of the office at an economic development function this week, but he's working on trying to assemble a steering committee of sorts for the economic development plan update. So that'll be coming. We'll probably have another workshop here in the near future to discuss that, and then have that group review the existing plan, which was last adopted in 2016. Street maintenance fee, I think Jared Kersey's been researching some area cities. Probably our next step would be to have a workshop, and it would be timely because we're approaching our annual budget through the summer. So that'll be within the next couple months to have those discussions. I believe at one of our June meetings, Vicky's going to do a kind of a rec update and make some recommendations or have a discussion on deposit fees. Does that sound right? Last time I talked to her, and other rental fees and program offerings. And I'm happy to report we're fully staffed for our seasonal programs, aquatic center and day camp, and I think we still have some spots for day camp. So if anybody you know is looking for a place to send their kids, we've still got some openings. Yeah, no update on this one, although this will be ongoing. I think it's a matter of really if we budget funds to go ahead and hire a third party to do a market study, which is kind of a precursor to recruiting a branded hotel. Audit risk assessment, we've talked about this a couple times, send you the monthly reports. We've got a couple, was it Dark Trace? What's the other? Dark Trace is one of the services we subscribe to, and another.
Greg's right there.
Oh, Lord. Now, Greg, there's too many acronyms. I can understand the first 10 seconds of Greg's. No. Dark Trace, okay, so Dark Trace.
Greg, could you speak into the microphone, please? We can't hear you.
How y'all doing?
Thank you.
We run the Screen Connect that runs all the virus updates too, and then we use SentinelOne. I mean, there's a lot of acronyms and there's a lot of different ones, but I've just been sending out the Dark Trace ones. We can send out whatever other ones you might like to have.
Pretty good.
Sounds good.
Minimum property standards, I think code has made visits to our existing hotels. We have a couple brief kind of status updates related to Landmark and the Great Western Inn. So I don't think there's anything major to report other than what's on the screen. We'll keep after it.
I have concerns on all those hotels, but that's another story, but I'm glad we're at least looking at it.
Yeah. It's one of those things, misery loves company. There's every city that deals with the same sort of dynamic. Strategic.
I mean, the good thing about that is, I think, is by us keeping a watch on it, small problems don't turn into big problems. So it's kind of nice to, yeah, they found some minor stuff, and as long as they know we're going to keep diligent, maybe it'll stay that way.
Yeah, agree. Strategic plan review, I think after we get out of the budget, maybe in the fall, we'll rehash our strategic plan, which was last adopted in maybe 2019 or so. So with that, happy to answer any questions, and we'll do it again with an update next month.
Any questions for Gabe? Anything? I appreciate the update, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, we're moving to 4. So we have several, we have 6 items in 4, and we're going to do them in a different order. I've been requested to do, we'll go 4A first, then 4D, then 4E, then 4B, 4C, and finish up with 4F. So that will be the order. So at 7:13, we're in a public hearing. Consideration action regarding proposed textual agreement in the zoning ordinance regarding modifying the city's permitted use table, public and city's use. It says Susie, but you're
I know, we
Louisa.
just kind of copy paste her name and all of them.
I got you. So this is Louisa.
Yes. We have a request from 2 applicants, Marby McLendon and Cheryl Mix, who wish to petition that an existing use within the permitted use table, that being philanthropic and or charitable use, be allowed in the light industrial zoning district and within the clinic overlay district. The current definition we have for that use is a nonprofit organization supported mainly by charity and whose principal function is the performance of charitable work. The Planning and Zoning Commission were presented with this request on April 14th, and they made a recommendation that the City Council approve the textual amendment modifying the city's permitted use table to allow that use within the light industrial zoning district through an SUP, a specific use permit. Now that you guys are going to go ahead and discuss and review the petitions for support that the applicant submitted, we just wanted to go ahead and run down through the mechanics in which the use can be permitted. So because it's within that overlay district, it could be allowed just within the medical overlay district, within the light industrial zoning district, or any others if you guys wish to, through an SUP or by right. I think that's generally everything. That use is currently permitted by right within neighborhood commercial, neighborhood mixed use, community commercial, and a couple of residential uses. But open to questions at this point, and we do have one of the applicants and one of the applicants' representatives here.
You have council questions for Louisa? You have the applicants here. They're welcome to speak right now if they would like to.
Either the applicants or if someone wants to make public comment. This is just for the request to amend the use table.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Brian McLendon. I'm a board member of Chat and Chew, the organization making the request this evening. I'm also the husband of the owner of Chat and Chew. I'm also a resident, used to be a resident of Saginaw, went to Boswell High School in 1982, so that's, I'm a little old. I lived on Americana Street here in Saginaw. I wanted to tell you why this permit matters, not just on paper, but in real life. Chat and Chew didn't start because it was a good idea. It started because women and children live through something no one should ever have to endure, abusive marriage that leaves physical and emotional brokenness, and at times without basic resources needed to survive. We didn't go through this alone. They carried children with them through this endeavor that has a lasting effect. They know how it feels to be hungry, to be vulnerable, to have nowhere to turn. Chat and Chew was built so no one in this community, the community we currently serve, would ever have to do this alone. Today, Chat and Chew serves families right here in Saginaw who are facing food insecurities quietly, consistently, and with dignity. And here is what makes our organization truly remarkable. Not one person in Chat and Chew draws a salary. Every hand that sorts food, every person that loads a box, every leader on our team is a volunteer. Some of those volunteers were once people standing in a line asking for help. We serve people once who were standing in a line are now serving others. That's not a program, that's transformation. It only happens when an organization has a mission people believe in deeply. Some of the people that are sitting in this audience, they give their time, their energy, their hearts for free. The Kennedy Lane location is not a burden to this district. It is a low-traffic, volunteer-led operation with scheduled hours, no heavy equipment, no noise, no environmental impact. In many ways, it's less intensive than the typical business that's already operating in a light industrial area. For an organization that has more than earned it. Council members, you have an opportunity tonight to do something tangible for people of Saginaw. Granting this specific use permit costs the city nothing. And it means everything, and I do mean everything, to families who walk through our doors. On behalf of Marvy, my wife, our board, we have board members here, and every family we serve, we respectfully ask your approval. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I hate to go after that. Holy moly. I'm one of the volunteers that he mentioned.
Will you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry. Jeremy Roberts. I live over in Keller, and I come out here to volunteer whenever I can, and I also contribute my own money and my family's money to Chat and Chew because I think it's such a great organization. About 2 years ago, I met Marvy, and she said, come on down and help out. And she put me right to work. and it was kind of life-altering for me personally, because it was amazing to see what the help they were giving to people right in my neighborhood, right in our area. And she's had a long story of her own, and she went from she planted her seed in Fort Worth, and then has moved to Saginaw and wants to make this home. And I'm telling you, if you go to her food pantry, well, one, she'll put you to work. But you'll see the transformation. And like you said, it is recipients giving back. I mean, what better thing could you have in your city than that? It's fantastic. So I urge you to approve them making Saginaw their home. I mean, it will be a shining light here in Saginaw. I assure you of that. It's a great, great organization.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, we are in a public hearing, so anyone can speak on this topic. Anyone can approach the microphone currently and dive in. So please come on up. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name's Gary Himes. I own the property at 1000 Kennedy Lane. Also, I'm in two of the suites there myself for my business. I'm there from 7 to 3:30 every day. They came and asked about renting this back in March. So we've had long conversations and we talked about it, and I wanted to know what they do and how it works and make sure it fit in with what we're doing over there, which is just a light industrial district. There's 6 other tenants besides myself and these 2 ladies that are running the nonprofits. I have spoke with them verbally, have not had any objections whatsoever. I told them what the plans were because I want them, my other tenants, to get along and not to get in the way. So I'm in full support of what's going on over there, and I'm welcome to answer any questions if you like.
Any questions for this gentleman? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for
Appreciate
your time.
All right, anyone else? We are still in a public hearing. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Charles Dents. I'm the board chair and president of Chat and Chew. A lot's already been said, a lot of great stuff, but I just want to add one additional thing, and that's the number of families that are served. Over 1,000 families are served every month. If you think about that, that starts to add up. I think it's over 1,200 a month. That starts to add up month after month after month, and throughout the year, that means that there are families that have food insecurities, that don't have just the necessary things of life, that they get that, from Chat and Chew. And so I just want to point that out, that it's a needed service. There are people who need that service, and if Chat and Chew is not available, they're going to get it somewhere, but Chat and Chew makes it very convenient, very well run, and the volunteers, they do it because that's what's in their heart. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Come on up.
Jeremiah Tyson from Euless, Texas. I'm with Donation House. Little background on Donation House. We are a non-for-profit. We give services in clothing, shoes, hygiene. We will connect people if you're looking for furniture. That's not something we house. We work across with a lot of other non-for-profits. We partner with a lot of people, including Chat and Chew. Something that's unique about us is we do not have an application process. If you found us and you need help, God has led you to us, we will try to help you as best as we can. Again, our stuff is donations. We got no reason to try to keep it from you. If you need it, if you just need a quick pickup, or if you need long services, we're here to help. So we think we can be a great addition to Saginaw. So that's why we're here and asking for you guys to give us approval.
Any questions for this? All right. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? We're still in a public hearing. Not too late.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Brewer. I'm a Fort Worth resident, and I serve on the VOWS HOA board. We are one of the largest communities in North Fort Worth. Through my work with zoning and planning issues in the city of Fort Worth, I'm very well with the specific use that she is applying for. But I know Cheryl Mix through her organization, My Donation House. The things that she does with this organization is incredible, especially at Christmas time. She helps children. I can guarantee you that as a resident in my HOA, she's always taking care, and same thing with her organization. And so I just wanted to say, I have personally seen the impact of her work, especially, with everything that she's doing. She runs a clean, organized operation. She cares about helping others, and I truly believe that Cheryl will be a respectful and responsible member of your Saginaw community. And so, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? We do have several other items to cover, so Louisa, any other input you want to give to the council before I close this hearing out?
No, lastly, just before discussion, again, we're just reviewing the request to amend the permitted use table. And if that were to be facilitated through a specific use permit, we would then move on to review the individual companies' specific use permit applications.
Sure.
So just one, it is to turn it into an SUP, right?
It's currently not permitted through in the light industrial district, which that property is zoned as.
But if we approve this, it will say not permitted to permitted with an SUP.
If you approve this, it would be, if you approve planning and zoning's recommendation, it would be to approve it through an SUP in the light industrial zoning district.
I didn't understand that.
Or BSB. That was just a recommendation to approve it within the light industrial zoning district.
Is this something the Planning and Zoning Board met on and voted on?
Yes, April 14th.
Okay.
I'm okay with it. What needs to be done to make sure it's an SUP?
Yes, so just to confirm, to clarify, this 4A, we are just voting on whether we want under LI next to philanthropic and/or charitable use to have it allowed in the light industrial area.
So this is step one.
Yes. Additionally, they are also located within the clinic overlay district. So if y'all wanted to add any regulations to that as well, you can. But they're not allowed right now at this light industrial area. So that's the first component that y'all are voting on.
Right, but this is just 4A. We're just
I got
step
a
one.
legal.
Thank you, Susie.
Brent, how do I make sure, how me vote on this, that if I approve 4A as it's written, how do I make sure that it ends up being in the SUP? Is it down here in 4E? I just want to make sure that I know what I'm voting on. And I got no problem as long as it ends up with a SUP.
So your recommendation, when you make the motion, would be to allow it in the light industrial district by SUP.
That's right.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council? Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
And so I understand this is step one, and then if we go along with what planning and zoning voted for, then their next step would be to ask for a specific use permit
Correct.
in this location that they're looking at.
Right, at their specific suite.
And the location they're looking at is in the medical overlay district?
Yes, it's within
So
light
wouldn't we want to go ahead and allow it in the, is that, we have to allow it in light industrial and in the medical overlay district for them to be able to use the property they're looking at?
You wouldn't have to, but you can if you wish to.
Oh.
In some other cases, sometimes it's allowed within just the overlay district, but not within the specific zoning, or vice versa, or it might be a little different, at which point, and I'll let our attorney correct me if I'm wrong, the overlay district overpasses the.
So they could be in the overlay district just if they were allowed in light industrial.
If you guys don't add any
Within SUP,
stipulation, if
yeah.
you don't add any stipulations to the overlay district, they can still be permitted if you
Okay.
approve it through an SUP and light industrial.
Yeah, so Mary, with that, so we look at base zoning first. So base zoning would be the light industrial. So if y'all decided to just do that through an SUP, then you don't have to add any other regulations to the clinic overlay district. If y'all wanted to, y'all could, but you don't have to.
We clear? Clear as mud? All right.
Confusing, I know.
It is. All right, so at 7:30, I take us out of a public hearing, and I will entertain a motion for 4A.
Mayor, I move that we approve 4A as a SUP
I'll second.
In
light industrial.
and light industrial.
Howard, second.
And I'll second.
Please cast your votes. All right, motion passes. So at 7:30, we're back in public hearing 4D. Consideration action regarding a specific use permit for 1,000 Kennedy Lane, Suite 107 to allow operation of philanthropic and a charitable organization.
Correct.
Louisa/Susie/
Right, now we will be reviewing the actual specific use permit application to allow the operation of a philanthropic charitable organization, specifically Chat and Chew, at 1,000 Kennedy Lane, Suite 107. Again, zoned as light industrial. The Chat and Chew is a food bank, based on the description of their services. They do have limited hours of operation, and they accept walk-ins in addition to appointments. But the applicant, again, is here. I can let her step up and answer any questions
All right.
that you might have from her application.
This is the right one. That's what I was going to ask. Sorry, oh, it's not on your screen.
Correct.
It's on my screen with the.
Yes,
we have
that is the
correct
right one.
now. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Council, any other questions for Luisa on this one? 4D.
For which one? 4D?
4D.
4D.
Did the planning and zoning meet on this? Is that what they met on tonight?
Planning and Zoning Commission was presented with this item tonight, and they made a recommendation to approve the SUP as presented.
Mary, you have a question? Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else you need to add to this, Luisa?
Yeah, no, other than that, the owner is here. They discussed in the prior meeting available parking. with the 13 units and 6 current tenants, and other tenants did not present any objections. We do have the petitions of support that are next to you for people that had comments regarding Chat and Chew. We didn't receive any in opposition.
So, on this one, how much traffic are we going to see in the light industrial area?
As in that property or just generally light
Well,
industrial?
In that, them to come in.
In that building? From the prior meeting that we had, the owner was saying that for the majority of the days, the parking lots outside are not fully occupied, making reference to generally wide open availability for people to park. But again, he is here right now today too, so he would be able to speak a little bit more on the property.
So there won't be a backup or anything, is what you're saying?
There's 50 spots at the front, 50 at the back that can be accessed to from the sounds of it. And when he was making reference to just parking spaces, he stated that they're normally not fully filled out, just because out of the 6 tenants in the 13 units, a few rent out 2 units at a time. And it just seems to not have a use currently that has a high traffic impact into their parking lot.
Susie, come up here, please. I know.
I think the owner said that at max capacity on a busy day right now with the amount of people that he has for those suites as a lease, it's about 20 parking spots out of the 100. So they have plenty of space.
At one time?
Yeah. Okay. And then he also mentioned that they work at different times of the day as well, the other suites. So for this one, I think they're only open 2 days out of the week, and it's by appointment, so they know how much workload they're gonna get. And it's also walk-in, but again, kind of depends.
So it's by appointment and walk-in?
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was only by appointment. Yes, no, it's walk-in too.
Yeah, and one of my questions they already answered was any concerns from the neighbors, any concerns from, the owner have already spoke, and so we've covered those questions as well. So. Other questions, council, for Susie or Louisa?
I had one more question for
go ahead.
Dave or Kim. Do you all see any financial impact to the city with this whatsoever? No? Okay, good. I'm good.
And then just lastly, as a reminder, we do have next to you a pack of petitions of support for this item. If you
Do I
want
need
to,
to-
you don't have to read
yeah.
them, but just
So-
noting for public hearing, yes.
So they're in the record, right?
They're in the record
Okay.
and they're for
We're
approval.
talking about all these that I've got, so.
Right. None were received for on opposition.
Okay. Any other questions, council? We are in a public hearing, so anyone else can speak on this. Anyone that has anything new to add is welcome to approach the dais at the microphone at this time. You don't have to, but you can. If you want to, you certainly are welcome. Go ahead.
She don't know she's.
That's fine.
I just wanted to ask if you guys had any questions. My name is Marvie McClendon. I'm from Chat and Chew. Any questions for us?
Any questions about her organization?
I mean, man, there's a lot to read here. It looks like they do.
We
A
have a
lot
lot
of
of
awesome
supporters.
work that y'all do.
Thank you.
For society. What made y'all pick Saginaw? Other
We
than
have
you
been-
lived here and knew it was an awesome place.
We actually have been in Saginaw for a little bit over a year. We were at 530 South Saginaw, and we just found the need to be overwhelming. And the people love the fact that they could choose what they need. So my husband said, I didn't wake up one morning to say, hey, I think I'm going to start a nonprofit. I actually went through it. I actually was in a domestic violence situation, and I didn't have the resources I needed. So everything we pour into Chat and Chew is something I had wished I had so I can get back on my feet sooner. So the choices of the food, the clothing, the mentoring, the financial education, the walking alongside the single parents, that's all because of something I didn't have and wish I had.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
So, do you limit your clients to people who live in Saginaw, or do you help people that
We're
live?
not zip code restricted, but we do have a lot of families from Saginaw. People come from Joshua, from Burleson, from Decatur, Bridgeport, because they do prefer choosing their own food versus, it just promotes integrity and dignity.
Thank you.
No, I like what he said earlier about the dignity of choice and and that's very important. Like that's
Absolutely.
I appreciate y'all highlighting that.
Absolutely. I know I used to get food that I couldn't use in my car because I didn't have a car opener, or I would get a bag of potatoes that you can't cook that in your car.
Okay. Council, anything else? Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
So we're still in a public hearing. Anybody else have anything extra to add? Anything new to add? All in, all done? Then at 7:38, I take us out of a public hearing. I'll entertain a motion for 4D.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve 4D as presented.
I'll second.
Valerie, second. Okay. Please cast your votes. Motion passes. Now we are on to 4E. At 7:38, we're back in a public hearing. Considering action regarding a spiffy use permit for 1,000 Kennedy Lane, Suite 108, to allow operation of a philanthropic and/or charitable organization. Louisa.
This would be a request for Suite 108 at 1,000 Kennedy Lane for the operation of Donation House. A little different from Chat and Chew. Main differences would be just the services provided. They provide clothing, household items, cleaning supplies, and all sorts of other things that would be supporting families. From what the applicant reported, there is not an application process, so people can just request it via Facebook, and it is strictly appointment-based. They set up that appointment and then come and pick up their packages at the location. They don't have like a strict timeline or hours of operation. It sounds like it's majorly every day of the week except Sunday, with some flexibility to work around with applicants when it comes to the major events that they hold, like back to school and Christmas, where they do kind of like an angel tree and give gifts to families that are in need to give a special Christmas to their kids. It, again, same location, and we discussed that the owner of the property has stated that there's rarely ever a time during the hours of operation in which the 50 parking spots at the front are fully occupied. This one would be strictly appointment-based too, so it's just people that are coming to pick up their items.
Right.
And Planning and Zoning Commission on tonight's meeting made a motion to recommend approval for the specific use permit to be granted as presented.
You mean they voted for it?
They voted for it.
Right. Any other questions, council, for Lisa?
Just clarification, this is the same thing, just that they're just taking on 2 suites, right?
They're a separate suite from Chat and Chew. So Chat and Chew is a separate organization. It will be Suite 107, the one that was just approved. Donation House would be Suite 108. So they're different organizations.
They just work together quite a bit, I think.
They
is what
work,
I'm- Yeah.
or they
suites.
served majorly the same
Right.
communities.
They're doing the same thing, just in 2 different suites, or is it a different
Donation
product?
House doesn't provide food.
I'm sorry?
Donation House doesn't provide food,
Yeah.
but that's majorly the main difference between the two. The representatives for the applicant are also here to answer any questions about service specifics. But
Any other questions for Louisa? Okay. Again, we're in a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak on this topic can speak at this time. It is completely open. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself every time, just for the record. So.
That's fine. Jeremiah Tyson, Vice President, Donation House. I don't know if you guys had any questions for me.
So Suite 108 is this gentleman's organization. You have any questions for him? Mary, go ahead.
So you don't provide food, but is it more like clothing or?
Yes, ma'am. We do clothing, hygiene. We don't house like large furniture, bed frames, stuff like that, but we'll work through our donors through Facebook and schedule a pickup for that participant to go get it.
Okay.
But we don't house those materials at our warehouse.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so last call for this item, this is 4E. Anybody wants to speak on this item? Last call, all in, all done? Then at 7:42, we're out of public hearing, and I will entertain a motion for 4E.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve item 4E for the SUP for 1000 Kennedy, Suite 108.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
How about Sean second that one? Yeah. Please cast your votes. Motion passes. All right, so now we're going to 4B. So at 7:43, we're back in a public hearing. Consideration action regarding an inquiry to add a new use to the permitted use table, community home for disabled.
And it's me.
It is Steve. I never know who I'm going to see when I look up.
Mr. Mayor and Council, for this one, we are essentially just trying to comply with Texas state law. Texas state law currently says that community homes for the disabled are allowed in any residential zoning districts. So we would like to update the permitted use table to reflect that.
Any questions for Susie on this one?
So this is just bringing us in line with state law.
Yes, sir. Yes. And I will say, I think that the recommendation for P&Z was to allow them everywhere. So I just want to make that clarification. We would probably want to just have that in residential so that we can comply.
Okay. Yes, Mary, go ahead, please.
So state law says these are allowed to be in any zoning district, and as an SUP does not come into play. They're just permitted.
By right, in residential zoning districts, yes, ma'am. So I've been told by our attorney.
And it's actually federal law. I mean, they're protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act, and there's significant federal case law that basically says you don't have to be related by blood with somebody for them to be able to live together. And so anywhere where you can buy a single-family home and live, the fact that the only difference is that they have a disability means you can't treat them more harshly than anyone else.
So if they're a community home for the disabled, they will have some sort of license of some sort that is different from this. But
I assume so, and under state law, that's right.
That's what I thought.
The various, yes.
Right. But that's not, this is just our permit.
That's right.
Right. Any other questions on this, council? Okay. And we are in a public hearing, so anyone can speak on this item at this point. So we are on 4B. The microphone is open if anyone would like to speak. If not, then at 7:45, I will take us out of a public hearing and I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion.
Approve it to add the new use to the permitted use table, community home.
Okay. Bracken, second. Please cast your votes. Motion passes. Outstanding. So now we are at 4C. So at 7:45, back in the public hearing, consideration action regarding an inquiry to add a new use permitted use table, ice kiosk. Again, it's Susie.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we received an application for an ice kiosk, and I do want to specify that it's actually going to be ice/water kiosk. So we would change the definition to include a water component to it as well. But essentially, we've created a definition where it is a self-service machine or booth where people can purchase ice, so we'll add and water, typically located outside stores, gas stations, or parking lots. Again, that's a tentative definition. We'll get with legal to add anything that they may see fit, especially when it comes to that ice and water component, so that there's no, discrepancies on that. But that would essentially be what we're looking at today. We received that application, and they're specifically requesting that it be allowed in community commercial zoning district as well as the Saginaw overlay district. Again, like the previous, you don't have to add any additional regulations to the overlay district. We would base it off the base zoning, but you can also have that opportunity to add any others as well. But with that, the applicant is here, so I can hand it over to them. They won't be talking about their individual business per se. It's just to allow the ice/water kiosk in general because it does not exist anywhere within our permitted use table today. With that, again, because we're adding it to the permitted use table, we need to have a definition, so it kind of just goes hand in hand.
I
But
think Brack had a question before you.
yes, sir.
Yeah, so how does the existing ones, how do they exist?
So I wasn't specifically here, so I can't tell you exactly, pinpoint it. We tried to do some research, and it seems that someone permitted it, and either they classified it under a separate definition, or they misjudged it and allowed it, and it was not supposed to be permissible. So 2 separate options. But when we were looking at the application and the definitions, based off that review of the existing definitions, there was nothing that we, right now, could classify it as.
So we would, if we pass this, they would then fall under that zoning, the existing ones would fall under the same zoning, right?
So those
Or
would be legally non-conforming. We can't do anything in terms of that, but if they are on the overlay district, then we do have some regulations that we could add to that district in itself, but there would be some other caveats, obviously.
Okay.
And then I had a question too. So how do we, because the ones that exist right now, they do break, and then we don't have a way to contact the people to let them know that it breaks. So how do we ensure that their information is on it somewhere? Can we do that by in the definition, say that it has to have that?
So you can add it as a condition to an approved SUP.
Okay.
So, because the SUP allows you to add reasonable conditions to your approval.
So not at this step, but later when it comes back for an SUP.
That's right.
That step.
That's right. That's probably the best way to do it, because if you just have it in the code,
right,
then they don't know when they're standing before you that that's a requirement.
Okay.
But if you say it to their face,
right,
then it's clear.
So with that, just wanted to let you know, so y'all had the option of permitting it by right or through the SUP, and that's where you could add the extra stipulations that Bryn mentioned.
What was planning and zoning's recommendation on this?
Planning and zoning recommended that we add it to the permitted use table through an SUP in the community commercial zoning district. They did not mention anything about the overlay district.
So this is just approving, updating the use table?
Yes, sir. So it's adding it to the permitted use table through, if y'all wanted to specifically have it allowed in the CC zoning district, that would be part of that. If y'all wanted it allowed in the overlay district, or if you don't even want to touch the overlay district, you have that option. But if y'all wanted it to be allowed in any other zoning district, y'all can also do that, either by right or through SUP. But the applicant today is specifically requesting that it be permissible in community commercial and the overlay district for the boulevard. So that's all you would be voting on today, just allowing it to be allowed somewhere.
Can you briefly just explain the difference between community commercial and neighborhood commercial?
Yes. So community commercial, it's typically for larger commercial entities. So that would be more so your Walmarts or your restaurants, things that are more centralized toward a corridor where there's not that many residential areas. It could be adjacent, but it's typically a standalone where it's like a big monopoly of commercial entities, right? Whereas neighborhood commercial are commercial entities that are more intertwined within neighborhoods. So those are more like grocery stores or little boutiques, things that may help the neighborhood. That's the intent. Now, it's not always planned that way. Right. You see. And they're typically smaller entities.
So if we do this as an SUP, then every applicant would have to come to us and we would have to prove it individually. Whereas if we did it the other way, anybody could put up whatever they want as long as it dispensed ice or water, and it wouldn't matter what it looked like?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Anytime you'll add anything by right, we have no regulations on it. That's what the right is. The other alternative, if y'all were to allow it through an SUP, is we see that P&Z and City Council see that on an individual case-by-case basis, and y'all could add any other regulations within reason. Or y'all can decide not to allow it in specific zoning districts as well.
Yeah, I like the SUP idea.
Mhm.
it's a good avenue.
Yeah, and I do too. I would think that, being in a neighborhood too might be helpful for some of the people that live nearby. So I think I would like to see it in both neighborhood commercial and community commercial as an SUP.
Yes. Yeah. If y'all wanted to add it to any other zoning districts, including base and overlay, y'all can add that. But I would just let y'all know that y'all have to specify specifically so I can take good note of it.
Very good question.
Well, too, I think it would not be good in neighborhood commercial since you might have neighborhoods abutting that. It might not be appropriate. But the main thing I wanted to discuss is we have kind of a disconnect where the applicant is asking not only that it be allowed in community commercial, but also in the overlay district. Planning and zoning did not talk about the overlay district.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we had it added to be allowed in community commercial with an SUP, wouldn't they have to go before planning and zoning to then, the second step, get an SUP for it?
Not unless you specified it. You're talking about the Saginaw Overlay District? Yes. Unless you specified that in the Saginaw Overlay District, it would also only be allowed through a specific use permit, then they wouldn't have to go through that. But if you do specify that on the overlay district as well, then they would.
It's like the other one that we just did where it's the base district. They go off of that.
Right. But
That's the first one we look at, and then we look at the overlay district. So if the overlay district also has stipulations and requests that an SUP be applied for, then you would add that. But just important to look at the whole zoning map. So for example, we have community commercial all over Bailey Boswell. So that's not a zoning district. If you wanted to add it to this specific zoning district or the clinic overlay district, you could, but you don't have to.
So what I'm asking is, so if we went along with exactly what planning and zoning approved, then they would have to go before planning and zoning to ask for an SUP to allow it in this location.
For community commercial, yes, and neighborhood commercial if y'all added that as well. Yes, ma'am.
I think we would want this with, any area would be with an SUP. I think the SUP avenue or route is how we want to go. And that would require P&Z, of course.
Well, I might as well just explain exactly what my thought process is, because I personally do think we need this in the permitted uses in community commercial with an SUP. However, I personally do not think it's appropriate to have it in the overlay district. I don't think that was our vision when we did the overlay district. So I just wanted to get it out there what my feelings were.
Yes. So if that were the case, you would add extra stipulations to the Saginaw Overlay District to either not have it permissible at all or to have it permissible through an SUP in the overlay district.
So could I intervene quickly? 'Cause I just want to make sure we get this right. So what's the base zoning for the overlay district? Is it community commercial?
It's a combination of things. So it's also NC.
Okay.
It has a variety of things. Yeah.
Okay, so if you wanted it by SUP only in all of those areas, including the overlay, you don't have to amend the overlay district at all. The overlay district is used to tighten the rules on the base district, which is the underlying district. So if you say it's required by SUP in neighborhood commercial and community commercial, and you want it to be allowed only by SUP in the overlay district, you can remain silent about the overlay district. The overlay district is only going to be touched if you want to make it prohibited, which would be a tightening of the underlying base zoning regulations to make it more restrictive, if that makes sense. Okay.
Any other questions for Susie? Again, this is a public hearing, so anyone can speak now. Oh, you have something else?
No, I'm thinking I heard what he said, and I'm sitting there thinking,
Processing.
okay, is somebody else going to make the motion? 'Cause okay, I just want to make sure that it's an SUP regardless of where it goes, definitely in an overlay district.
Okay. All right, so we are, back to my, we are still in a public hearing, so anyone can speak on this topic at this time. Anyone like to come up and speak, you're certainly allowed.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Craver. This is my husband, Scott Craver. We are the applicants for this. Do you have any questions for me? Am I allowed to ask questions of you?
You can, sure.
Why do you not see that it fits in the overlay district?
Well, I did watch the planning and zoning.
You turned it off.
I watched the planning and zoning meeting from April 14th, I think it was, last night, and I watched your presentation. And maybe you might want to put those pictures up again, but to me, it looked like it was going to be a very overpowering machine that, you know, was not going to fit in with what our vision for the overlay district was. And that's how I made.
Yeah, we have pictures. Pictures would be great.
Absolutely, and I also have reviewed your overlay district. And this, one of the key reasons that this use fits well within the overlay district is an exceptionally small physical footprint. And it wouldn't be overbearing. And I'm happy to, can I scroll through? This isn't the start of it.
Setting it up.
You'll let Greg
Yeah, there you
get somewhere. Brent, I assume it's okay to walk through this? This is not a...
Oh, sure.
Okay.
While we're pulling that up, I've also done a Buxton report for this area, and it is, it's highly rated within the Buxton report. It's actually it's predicted to, the average is about 20,000 vends per year. The top 30% of a Buxton report shows that vending would be around 24, and this particular site is predicted to be at around 26,000 vends per year. So there's definitely a need in the city of Saginaw. I understand. Can I click now? Because this isn't where I want to start. Okay, so in this particular space that we would like to place this ice and water vending machine, it is on Saginaw Boulevard. My family owns 345 and 343 North Saginaw Boulevard. We've owned it since 1958, when my grandfather purchased it. This property is approximately 2 acres, and this machine will probably take up 24 feet of that 2 acres. So it's not intrusive at all. This would also be a brand-new machine that we would be purchasing, one of many, and the reasons we would want it to be, I know that this is probably going a little bit further than I need to, Susie, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My grandfather, who was a very personable person, bought that property to help people that he transported here from another state that were being treated poorly. We want to have these machines because they're low maintenance, and we have 3 special needs individuals within our family, and we want them to be able to survive and prosper on their own, and this would allow them to be able to do that. Because there is very low maintenance. And again, we have lots of family members that live here. We're happy to place our information on the machines because we would be not only landscaping it, we would make it look very nice. It is our property. We wouldn't make it look like, the businesses that are located next to it. I think you discussed one of those businesses earlier, the Landmark Motel. So these are self-service, they're low impact use. There's no staffing required. There's minimal traffic, and it provides essential daily service. Again, 26,000 VINs in a year is projected for this particular site, based on a Buxton report that was done. The concept plan, you all probably know where it is. You've seen these. This is the largest of the units that are provided by Twice the Ice. This is an ice house. It is a larger unit, but that is what we would want to go with because that's what the report shows that we could put in and be able to utilize it. There is a smaller kiosk that could go in, but we would probably go with the ice house. Let's see what's next. This is again just a rendering of where it would be placed. We would place it in the corner of Saginaw Boulevard and North Hampshire. Because if we decide to develop our property later, we would be able to do that around this, and if we couldn't, we would have the ability to move it, because these are movable, if we decide to move it later. And if we decide to put one in a neighborhood, that would be awesome too, because again, we're looking at doing multiple ice houses. The traffic impact is small. We already have parking spaces on the property. Typically, it's, people are there 1 to 3 minutes. They're either getting ice or they're getting water, and they're heading out, so. The machine footprint, again, this just shows what it looks like. There's 2 different styles, and the one that we're looking for, we would probably go with that top one, because we would want it to look best. And basically, this is what it would look like. So this is probably one of the best pictures that shows. Any other questions on that?
Any other questions, folks?
Again, we are here just to ask for it to be added to the specific use table so that we can follow up back with P&Z and go a little bit more in detail with our SUP application. We did not put one in yet because we wanted to go through this process first.
Of course.
So.
Any other questions, folks? Thank y'all.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Great information. All right, so we're still in a public hearing, so this is, the microphone is still open. Anybody else wishes to speak? Susie, anything else you want to add?
Just wanted to reiterate the options today, so you can allow it in any zoning district. If y'all wanted to be more prohibited in the zoning overlay district, like Bryn said, y'all could as well, but y'all don't have to. You could either do it by right or through an SUP. If y'all decide to do it through an SUP, it would look like similar to the other ones where we vote on this today, and then in June, we would see the SUP.
Okay.
So
Any
with
other
that,
questions, counsel, for Susie? Go ahead, Brad.
On the neighborhood commercial component of it, in your opinion, does that, would one of these fit within that kind of zoning as we have it? And have you had any interest or requests for neighborhood commercial for one of these kiosks or something like it?
during my time here, we have not received any type of request for an ice kiosk, and that, again, I think is why we had not been able to catch that on our side of the house. But like I said, neighborhood commercial is intended for smaller type retail commercial. So if y'all wanted to do that, either by right or through an SUP, if y'all do it by an SUP, you would be able to have those other regulations, like having that information and things of that sort. So it's up to y'all.
Okay. Any other questions, counsel? All right. Thank you, ma'am. So unless no one else wishes to speak, we are at 8:06. I'll take us out of a public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve 4C, adding the ice kiosk to the permitted use table under a special use permit for community commercial and neighborhood commercial.
I second.
A second, okay. Valerie, second. Please cast your vote.
Did y'all say by SUP?
He did, yeah. All right, motion passes. Thank you, folks. So we are at 4F. So at 8:06, we're back in a public hearing. Consideration action regarding a specific use permit, SUP, for 105 West Lemon Street, and 215 North Saginaw Boulevard to allow the operation of an auto service station. Louisa.
Yes. So we received the specific use permit to allow the operation of an auto service station at those three addresses, 105 West Lemon Street, 213, 215 North Saginaw Boulevard, with the business operations majorly taking place at 213, but overall through all three properties. The definition that we have for an auto service station entails that it is defined as an establishment for the retail sales of petroleum products, automobile accessories, auto tune-up, muffler installation, incidental to the primary use, tire installation or repair, oil change, or other lubricant services, in which all services provided and all storage supplies, parts, equipment, and accessories are indoors, with the exception of fuel dispensing operations. All three properties are zoned as community commercial and are within the Saginaw Overlay District, which requires a specific use permit application for that use. For the applicant's information and description that they provided for the business intended, Hem's Tire, it was described within the application and to staff that the operation would entail the sale of old and new tires, installation of the tires within that bay, and a couple other services that I'm pulling up right now. So, the tire mounting and balancing, tire rotation, basic vehicle inspections related to tires and suspension, air pressure and safety checks, and basic alignments, servicing passenger vehicles, SUVs, and light-duty trucks like half-ton, three-quarter-ton, and one-ton, with no heavy commercial trucks or industrial equipment being an option that would be serviced at the location. The proposed hours of operation would be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The amount of employees, as stated by the applicant in the planning and zoning meeting, can vary from like 19 to, I think, 25, really depending on the volume of customers that they have. And that's just from examples that he provided from other locations that they have at Watauga, Louisville, and Dallas. From the average daily customer count that we got, it seems like the highest is Dallas with about 100 people a day, and Louisville and Watauga looking at about 65 to 85. I will show you a couple of the attachments that we received from the applicant. So these three properties will be included on that SUP for, again, the operation of an auto service station. Below is the proposed parking arrangement within combined lots, having the employee parking towards the back and customer parking in 213 North Saginaw Boulevard predominantly. The proposed site plan for 105 West Lemon Street will look to service as a storage space for the tires to be sold at the location, trash, and just general employee use on the back end. This is the rendering that we received as to the proposed conceptual plan that they have for that building or facade. Then for 213 North Saginaw Boulevard, which would be, when I say primary, where most customers will be at and will be received, we'll have that break room area for customers to wait and bay areas for vehicles to be pulled into to do the tire installation. This is the rendering proposal that they have for a facade that would be looking out into Saginaw Boulevard. And then lastly is 215 North Saginaw Boulevard. The demolition plans are tentative at this point, as the owner or potential future owner would like to first see if the business would be approved and just kind of assess the cost for demolition. But if that does go forward, they're proposing to remove this building to just use the leftover structure that's in better condition as an installment bay for alignment and I believe tire installation as well, and to open up more parking for customers. And that is the facade that they are proposing, or the look as to how it'll look from Saginaw Boulevard. We do have the applicant present. He can come up and also speak a little bit more in detail about Hem's Tire and the proposed business, but I'm open to any questions. Before you guys move on, Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of the specific use permit as presented. because they did feel that the proposed facades for the businesses were generally fitting with the overall look the city would want to achieve in the future for the Saginaw Boulevard Overlay District.
Any other questions for Louisa while she's up here? Yeah, I think we'd like to hear from the applicant, so.
I've got a question for the fire chief. Is there any issue with the indoor tire storage that they have proposed on this from a fire standpoint?
There will be a limit on there. I'd have to look at the actual submittal to see if it requires a fire sprinkler or not, but it's very likely.
Something else. I think Susie wants to add on that.
I just want to specify, they were okay with, excuse me, they were okay with how it looks just because the existing use is a tire shop. They received a comment letter about the Saginaw Overlay District and how they didn't think that it went well with it. After they discussed that a little bit further, they didn't think that it should be considered when it came to that specific location, just because it was already an existing one, but they didn't specifically say that it was complementing the overlay district. Just wanted to clarify that.
Just to clarify, sorry, the existing use would be a little different, so they wouldn't be an auto service station. They're a little bit more heavy duty. They do transmission work and lubricants and other services as part of their services. So Ham's Tire will be just a little different, that they will have they wouldn't fit the definition of an auto service station, light maintenance, or a full-on mechanic shop.
I'm struggling with that. So, okay, I got a big blue building. It's a Ham's building. I'm familiar with your all's big blue buildings. It seems like they're going to have two buildings. They're going to have this one. Is this, go back to that one. Is this the front or the back of the building? Can we go back
No,
one?
so I'm trying to go back, sorry.
Is that the front or the back of the building?
That is the back of the building that faces 105 West
Okay.
Lemon Street. So
And
let me go ahead and go back to
the other one was the front.
So those gates are facing 105 West Lemon Street.
Okay.
So that's what it would look like on the back. And then,
This is
thank
the
you.
front.
That would be the front of 213 North Saginaw Boulevard that faces Saginaw Boulevard.
Okay. And then the other alignment building is going to be behind it?
The other alignment building is next to it. So let me go back to the map. Or Greg, I'm not sure if you can take control. Can you go back to the initial map that shows all properties?
Yeah, right here.
Yes, so that, can you, prior one? 213, technically neighbors Lemon Street as well, or sorry, 215. It's that top one over there. So they're proposing to demolish a portion of it and leave the building that has
So
the stronger
213 will be
structures
the
in it.
alignment building?
213 would be the main building where
Would be the main
customers are received, and there's a break room and waiting area. And 215 is the one with the proposed alignment bay.
Okay, 215.
So the kind of like, I don't know, it's a whiter roof, longer building would stay, and then the other ones would be torn down?
From what the applicant is proposing, yes, because it seems that the structure is not the best as of right
And
now.
what are they doing with 205?
105 West Lemon Street?
Yeah, I mean 105.
They're repurposing it for storage of the tires that they would be selling, and it just would be strictly employee use. No customers will be going in there.
When you say tires, you used tires.
They sell used tires and new tires, but the used
And they-
tire, yes, so they sell new tires and used as well.
They would be putting, okay, so
I think
are
these
they
are
gonna
questions.
have a
these are
building
questions
there?
These are questions for the applicant. Want
Okay.
to get them up there, and probably can answer better than Louisa can. I don't want to put that on Louisa. So, why don't you come up, please. I'd love to hear from you.
How are you doing? I'm Chris Wagner. I'm from Watauga, Texas, and I'm with Ham's Tire.
Okay.
I just want to first touch on the scope of what we do. We do tires, wheels, brakes, shock struts, suspension work, alignments. We're slimming the scope of what's going on there right now. We're not touching anything with fluids, no engine, no transmission, nothing crazy like that. Just what's easy, nothing with fluids. Yes, we're going to be running out of the 213 building. It's just the building that's most suited for what we want to do. It's got the 3 bays up front. There's a rendering of what we want to do to the front, put a glass facade, make it more modern, make it a little more comfortable and safe for people. We're going to utilize the 105 West Lemon building that is connected. for storage, so everything's inside. It's actually perfect for trash tires. You have to have a company come pick it up. So we'll have from West Lemon a company to be able to bring their trailer down, load it up, and take off that way. They don't have to access from the front or anything like that. So it is an awkward layout that we have there, but that's the way we're going to run it. As for the 215 location, it has the big bay. That's honestly a beautiful building. It just needs to be prettied up a little bit. And then the remaining building there, which is like you guys have seen it, it's got the red and white paint on it. That building's kind of falling apart. It's not beautiful. It's not easily repurposed. And once you get inside of it, it's just like that. I think it'd be better suited to maybe put more parking, overflow parking there, because the awkward part of the properties are just the lack of parking, the lack of space for people to utilize for their vehicles. And I think that's the best plan of action for us that's the proposed demolition, is hopefully to take that out just to utilize that for overflow parking. Any questions for me?
Yeah, council, questions for this gentleman? Nick?
Well, I'm just trying to make it all out as to exactly everything they're doing.
Yes, sir.
They said you're going to have storage in the back area for both used and new tires. Is it going to be outside?
No, in the building. We'll be utilizing the building.
Okay.
You're not going to have any outside storage?
Not that, no, we shouldn't. We're going to utilize that building for storage. If we get busy enough, I mean, we could always bring in, containers or something for more storage in the back, but that's all gated off and whatnot anyways, so hopefully it won't.
Can I answer it in the way I hope you're going to answer it?
Yes,
We will
sir.
not have outside tire storage. How about that?
No,
Is that a good
sir.
answer?
Yeah, that's
I
what
like
I'm getting
that
at,
answer.
yes, sir. I also saw, there was a question about wheel racks and tire racks outside. We're not doing that. We're going to try to be as modern as possible, and that's our goal, is to be a nice, modern, comfortable facility for people to be able to bring their vehicles. But yes, no tire storage outside.
Great answer.
We don't want it outside anyways. You don't want it in the weather.
And you get, just to help you understand our concerns, we're trying to, I don't say beautify Saginaw Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
And outside, a new building, great. Outside tire storage, outside cars on block.
Yep.
So that's our concern. That's really where we're coming from, so to help you understand where we are with this. We talk about the overlay district, and that's, in my head, I'm sort of wheeling how this will fit in the overlay district and
sure
how we'll look on the boulevard. That's our showpiece. So.
I do have one other question
Go
about the
ahead.
parking
Yes,
in
ma'am.
the front. Is it going to be, okay, across the street where, I can't think of the name of the building, you have to pull in, and when you try to back out, you're in traffic. Is that going to be like that? Or are you going to give a little more space where you can?
Yes, if we were utilizing the 215 property, that's how it would be.
Yeah.
But the way that we're going to be setting up parking, no, we're going to give everyone ample room. Really, I think of my employees first, right? So I want to make sure my employees are not backing up customer vehicles in the line of fire. But no, and we're not going to be pulling cars around on Lemon Street or anything like that. Another thing that was mentioned, it was actually mentioned in the letter, was they don't want parking up Lemon Street where we're going to park our cars. We're not going to be doing that at all. Everything needs to be on our property. And, I don't want my employees driving on a public street with a customer's vehicle is really what it is.
I just worry
So.
about all the business right there on Saginaw Boulevard.
Oh, and I've seen
Sometimes
people
it get
using
really
that shoulder
irritating,
to. Yes, ma'am. No, we've taken that into consideration, and no, we think we've figured it out. And especially with the demo, adding those extra parking spots to free up the front for maybe customers that have dropped off their cars, we finish with them, we can pull them over there and wait for them. I think that's the way we want to go.
And P&Z approved this?
Yes, sir.
Unanimous?
I believe so.
So here's my concern. I got a lot of concerns. So one is, I'll bounce it off, Brent, is, and Gabe, I don't know who, but I'm very uncomfortable with this, it being any overlay district. Not that it's generally a tar thing, but just the information I'm given, I'm sitting here and I'm having to make a lot of assumptions, and being on council, making assumptions and listening to promises. I've gotten, in my past, when I first started, I got the citizens burned because of that. So for me, I think this needs to be shored up more. I would lean more towards tabling this, sending it back to them and getting some hard numbers of exactly how the traffic flow is gonna work through it. And getting in there that absolutely, you know, you said you're not gonna use fluids, get it written into it. Also get written in there that thou shall not be working on cars outside, and thou shall not be blocking any of the intersections, stuff like that.
Yeah, so we just wanted to step in and just let you guys know that is a condition. Like, SUPs allow you to add those conditions for operation. I believe the only thing that you cannot regulate would be the material for the construction, but you could even include a clause to regulate the color of the facade, whether or not it has outside display of tires and things of that sort, if you guys wish to, within this approval.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, go.
Yeah, I think
As
it's
in, like,
too
this
much.
can happen
Get
here and
that
overwrite the requirement.
I think that it's too much to approve in this session. I think we do need to take, that's my opinion. I would want to see it tabled, just so that we can make sure that that's all defined.
Yeah. I don't want to sit here and try to pencil whip it.
Right.
To get it in today. Because anything I do, I'm going to want to bounce off Brent to make sure that we're crossing T's, dotting I's.
Sure. And if you want to table it, then you keep jurisdiction over it yourselves, and you all can take the next couple of weeks to consider what conditions you want. Alternatively, if you want P&Z to do the hard lift and make the recommendations, you wouldn't table it, you would vote to remand it back to P&Z.
Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
And going along with my comments on the earlier, this to me is not my vision of what we were looking for when we did the overlay district. And I know that, you know, your logo is your logo and you wouldn't want to change that. But I just don't like the aesthetic look of it, and I just don't think it's what I had in mind, the look for the overlay district. So I just wanted to get that opinion out there.
Is it the pig or is it the blue?
Pardon me?
Is it the blue?
Well, not just the blue, but.
Is it the pig?
Partially the pig. And then what are the materials of the building? What are they built?
I'm sorry?
What materials were you using for the building itself?
Oh, the building's already, it's already
That's
up.
already there, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it made out of?
Some kind of brick.
Oh, it is brick?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
guess that blue makes me not know what it's made out of. But I just,
It covers
you
up
know,
blemishes, yes, ma'am.
I'm very particular about that look of the Saginaw Boulevard, and for me to, I'm not so worried about the use as I am the physical look.
Sure.
And I just would want something entirely different that doesn't even come close to looking like that.
Hey, Brand, I have a question for you. Any new construction, can we, in an SUP, can we specify it be masonry, or is that off the table completely?
It's off the table completely unless you do an incentive agreement.
Even with an SUP?
Even with an SUP.
That's what I was afraid of.
See, no pun intended, but this is kind of putting lipstick on a pig on the building. And I'd like, you know, we can't force you to do it, but I'd like to see some stonework so it's just not so blue, maybe. If that'd be something you guys would be open to looking at.
Yeah,
doing.
no, absolutely we are. The blue is just something we've done.
I know.
It's been our color, our brand. But no, absolutely, right now the building it's like a tan. I mean, if there's another color we need to go with and just maybe outline it with a blue trim or something just to keep our brand or something alive. For sure, we're open to that, yes. The pig, we can make it a little smaller if it's...
I understand, it's part of your branding, and
Yep.
that's a reasonable request. Brad.
So, I take it you did read Mr. Ditforth's letter. Were there any of his stipulations in there? At the end, he kind of provided a list of things. Were there any of those that you thought, well, that's kind of a no-go for us, or anything?
Do I have that?
I actually agreed with, I believe, most of what was said there, for sure.
Do you want me to read this and put this on public record?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
The whole thing? Okay, bear with me. All right, so this is a letter from our friend Dan Difforth. Dear Planning and Zoning Commission, my name is Dan Difford, I'm a nearby resident submitting comments regarding the requested SUP for an auto service station on 105 Lemon, 213 North Saginaw, and 215 North Saginaw Boulevard. I'm not opposed to responsible commercial development, however, I have significant concerns regarding the proposed conversion of existing low-volume mechanic shop into a higher turnover operation at this location. The tire shop inherently generates a higher volume of vehicle traffic, staging, and short-duration service activity than a traditional mechanic shop. Based on the current site configuration, it appears unlikely that all operations will be contained on site without impacting adjacent streets, particularly West Lemon, which is a residential roadway directly serving the neighborhood behind the property. My primary concerns are as follows. 1, overflow parking and street impacts. This is a high likelihood that vehicles will overflow onto Lemon or stage near the intersection. This would reduce visibility, restrict safe ingress and egress for residents, and create avoidable safety hazard. This is also potential to impact emergency access to residential areas. 2, on-site capacity and operational fit. The existing site layout appears better suited for a lower volume mechanic use. A tire operation requires adequate internal space for vehicle queuing, staging, and service turnover. If these functions cannot be fully contained on site, the use is not appropriate for the property in its current configuration. 3, outdoor operations and visual impact. Without strict controls, tire-related operations can extend outdoors, including vehicles on jacks, tire storage, and active service work in view of the roadway. This would negatively impact both safety and visual character of the corridor. I agree completely. 4, aging structures and corridor appearance. The existing buildings are older and were not designed for this type of intensity of use. If this SUP is approved, the site should be brought up to a standard consistent with a primary commercial corridor, including buildings, upgrades, screening, and overall site improvements. Additionally, existing Ham Tires locations in the region demonstrate a consistent branding and site design approach, including locations on Watauga Road in Watauga, Fox Avenue in Louisville, and Carroll Avenue in Dallas. While branding itself is not the concern, these examples illustrate a development pattern that may not align with the established character of the Saginaw Corridor, which is primarily masonry-based with more subdued and integrated signage. This SUP is approved. Exterior design, building materials, and signage should be required to meet current corridor standards and be compatible with surrounding development rather than replicate a standard design approach that may not fit this location. Based on these concerns, I respectfully request that the Planning and Zoning Commission either deny the SUP or as currently proposed, or at a minimum, recommend approval only with strict enforceable conditions, including all vehicle parking, staging, and storage must occur entirely on site. No use of West Lemon or adjacent residential street for overflow parking or queuing. No vehicle allowed to stage near the intersection in a manner that impacts visibility or access. No outdoor vehicle service, including tire changes or vehicles on jacks. No outdoor storage of tires, parts, or disabled vehicles without proper screening. A site plan demonstrating adequate circulation, parking, and operational capacity. Required upgrades to ensure the property meets current commercial corridor standards. If these conditions cannot be met, then the proposed use is not compatible with the site or the surrounding residential area. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Dan Difford.
So-
Duly submitted for the record. And thank you, Dan. Dan's listening. Thank you, Dan, for your input. Yes, sir. How would you respond?
Yes, so a majority of that.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah, and majority of that I agree with for sure.
Okay.
I would touch on, like, no vehicles in the open being worked on. I'm going to be working on demoing just for parking. I don't have room to work on vehicles outside in the front. Another thing, the building not being set up for the amount of volume, it's actually set up beautifully for the amount of volume we do. Those 3 bays that you see on the front, they go all the way back to the back of that building, those 3 bays. There's enough for 4 car lengths worth of queued vehicles, if you will. It's pretty wonderfully laid out. We did have some recommendations from P&Z. Well, at first they wanted to know what the traffic flow is going to be like. How are you going to avoid driving around West Lemon? And when I described it, one of the P&Z members labeled it, oh, like a dealership style. So we're going to be queuing our vehicles in. They'll be parked. We'll log our info in for the customers, and we'll have an assistant manager, a sole person, to be able to grab the car, load it up into one of the bays. It gets worked on. He brings it out, and if you look at the sight-down view, there's that weird little S going through both of the big buildings. That's where he'll bring it around and load it up right next to the office. You'll be able to see your vehicle get pulled up and waiting for you to get cashed out. Give him the keys. You take off. The only thing not being done in that building would be the alignment bay right beside it. Something they recommended, P&Z, was to put up those big old mirrors, the big kind of spherical mirrors to see around corners. Put those on every corner, which I'm like, oh, that's a wonderful idea, because last thing I want is employees running into other, cars. But I mean, there'll just be a strict rule, and I even told P&Z, even if I have to put big yellow arrows, there's going to be a traffic flow, and that's what we have to follow so we don't have any issues. You just got to make it simple. Yeah, so no vehicles outside getting worked on. I won't have room for that, but we don't want that image anyways. What else was on there that I'm not touching base on? It was traffic flow, not using West Lemon for parking or anything, staying away from the intersections, the building efficiency. I am going to be updating the office. We're going to be ripping out everything that's in there right now. A lot of what they have set up for is for like transmissions, engines, fluids that I'm not going to need. It's just kind of a waste of space. So everything's getting ripped out, getting new paint, getting brought up to the speed we need it to be. A lot more wide open layout in there. It's kind of, I'm sure y'all haven't been inside the building, the work area, but it's a little jumbled up. It just needs to be cleared out, 3 bay doors going through. And then, yeah, more parking once we do the demo, as long as that proposal goes through. That's how we'll handle the overflow parking. If the customer's not here, we'll just pull it around to that. But any other questions?
Just the comment that I made, I'll maybe have John Cook, the fire marshal, look at what the requirements would be for sprinklers, because they're not cheap, and if it's required, you may not want to pursue this, so.
Really what drives that is the height of the storage. You can keep them low, the pile storage. So we'd have to look at it and see what that would kick in. We'll work that.
Yes, and Mr. Mayor, with that, Paul, that would be part of the civil process. So that's something that during DRC, if this were to be approved, they would go to DRC, and John Cook, the fire marshal, would make that comment during DRC. But I just wanted to state, based off what I kind of heard, kind of wanted to say a few points. So it sounds like, because it's in the overlay district, our main concerns are we don't want to have any outside storage / work. No blue paint. We can regulate the paint. We cannot regulate masonry. If we wanted to regulate masonry, we would have to entertain a Chapter 380 agreement through economic development, just side note. Signage limitations, we can add. So if we didn't want the pig, or if we didn't want it to be that large or pink, obviously with the owner's approval as well, we could add that stipulation. The Saginaw Overlay District does have regulations for signage that were added to that as well. So we do have added regulations on the boulevard.
That would be like, you mean like a masonry sign type?
For the sign, yeah, they can't be like a certain height. You can only have like a
tall pole sign, but
limited.
you can have a masonry sign out front.
Yes,
That's
sir.
That's what's
Yes.
in my head.
And then it sounds like P&Z and y'all both had the concern when it comes to traffic flow. Again, this is something that's going to be discussed during civils, but if y'all wanted to add an extra stipulation on just that staff has more added control over certain traffic control scenarios, we can conditionally add that as well. So if y'all have any other ones that y'all wanted to add, we could add those. But I think from y'all's summary, it sounds like those are the main points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the blue paint. I'm really not.
Okay.
And I understand your branding. You want to respect your
Yeah.
branding. I just want it to look as, I guess, to fit in as well as possible. And that's my biggest concern. I think the traffic flow and the outside storage, we're very clear on that, and you've answered that very well. How's it going to look? When I'm driving down the boulevard, it's going to look like it fits in Saginaw and it's not incongruous with the other things that we're bringing in as we're slowly, working this overlay district. So that's my big concern.
That's almost
Right.
Boswell's color, the blue.
What's the current fence on Lemon, dividing the residential versus
So
the
on
property?
the west side, not on the street, you've got a pretty sizable metal fence that's in pretty good shape. And then as it goes around to the north side of the property on Lemon, that breaks into a chain link portion, which I'm not very fond of, but it's pretty dilapidated. It's falling apart. It's going to need to be replaced, and probably with more of that metal fencing. Of course, unless you guys like the chain link, then I'll put that in. But I don't think that it complements the neighborhood as a chain link fence, no. But it definitely needs to be replaced, and it will be replaced.
Okay. Mary, go ahead.
I just wanted to read from this just to make my point
Yes, ma'am.
more clear, and I know it's subjective, but the intent of the standards is to protect and enhance the city's aesthetic and visual quality, and that's where I'm coming from.
Yes, ma'am.
Sean?
Have you read through the overlay district guidelines as far as what's required? Because I'm looking at section 2 and it's got some specifics. Go to the next page here. Talking about general requirements for the overlay district. It's just got a lot of stuff in there about landscaping. So I just want to make sure that you've read all that and you
I actually have not. P&Z had notated a little bit about that, and they kind of mentioned, obviously there's not really much room for landscaping. What we've done at the Watauga store is we put up a bunch of really nice little wood slatted, like flower pots, if you will, and put a bunch of like spineless prickly pear cactuses in front, just anything to make it look more appealing and more comfortable.
Yeah, because it says minimum of 15 feet of landscaping must be provided between the building face and the street right of way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd have to add a lot of dirt and.
Yeah, so landscaping would also be part of the civil process. So if you all make a decision on this today through SUP or by right, we would see that at DRC, and our building official would look at the landscaping.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure.
And the ordinance is in the packet as well, so.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that he was aware.
Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely up to any suggestions, especially for landscaping. I want the place to look beautiful and nice, and this is just the best I could think of. If there's any recommendations, that's what I want. We're ripping up all the asphalt. We're going to be concreting the entire property, make it new, nice.
Okay.
But yeah, any recommendations, I'm ready to roll with the punches, absolutely.
I'm trying to decide, Brent, would this be best to bump back, like you mentioned, we got two, well, I guess we got 3 or 4, but to me, the two that's I'm leaning towards is either bumping it back to P&Z and tell them to do their job.
Yeah,
Or 2, just postponing it, tabling it.
Yeah, it really depends on whether you want P&Z to put some effort into it and come up with recommendations.
Could we table it till the next meeting, and that would give council opportunity to submit questions or concerns, and then the P&Z meets the week after, then they could consider all that and then come back?
Well, my question is, if we table it, can't we just bring it back to council and add what we want within the SUP?
That's correct.
And doesn't have to go back to P&Z, that would be my preference.
Okay.
We've got some ideas, let's table it, coalesce our ideas, and what we want to add to the SUP, to the motion, essentially, to the SUP, and then bring it back to council? Is that a reasonable, council?
Well, my question is, if we deny it, what's the implications of that when it goes to P&Z? Do they have to have a full, does it go back or does it just die?
No, that's the end of it.
Okay.
If you didn't.
Mary, go ahead. You can do whatever you like, I guess.
Does anybody else want to discuss anything before I make a motion?
Are we still in a public hearing?
We're still in a public hearing, so
okay.
I'm not ready to really take us out yet. I don't want to deny it. I want to see how we can make this work. We have some questions, how we can make it with the aesthetics. We're saying different things, but that's sort of what we're trying to say. And we're very pro-business in Saginaw. I'd like to continue, and I would like to make it work. I just need to figure out how we can make it work and how, with the look. And then you've been very amenable, and I appreciate your openness and willing to work with us. So I think we can come to agreement. I really do. I think it just may take some time. So, and unfortunately, city things move slow. And as a private business, I understand you're ready to go. And so it may be in the best interest of us just to bring it back and do some thinking about it. That would certainly be my preference.
Just table it till the next meeting.
I think if Mary wants to make the motion to deny it, I think she has that right.
Oh, she does, yeah.
She does.
When we take it out of public hearing, but we're still public hearing. So, anything else you want to add? Well, you have the mic. Anything else you want to tell us that we don't know or?
No,
need to know?
really, it's, I mean, we want to make this work for sure. So if there's any recommendations, just let us know.
Okay.
I mean, it's set up for a mechanic shop, and so we were hoping to just beautify it, make it better, update it, modernize it, and make it better than what it is for sure.
I understand,
But,
yeah.
if you guys have a certain vision that you're wanting out of it, and it's something that I could achieve, I'd love to do that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
So we're still in a public hearing, so anyone else can speak on this item if you so choose. So seeing that, then at 8:42, I take us out of a public hearing. Mary, would you like to make a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion that we deny item 4F.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You'll second? Okay. All right, motion fails. So we are still, any other motion someone would like to make?
Mayor, I make a motion to table item 4F to the next meeting.
And I'll second.
Okay. Is that clear enough, Brent? Is that good enough?
Absolutely.
Okay. Please cast your votes. All right, motion passes. We are tabled. We'll be back. We'll continue our discussion. We look forward to working with you. Thank you for coming in. And thanks, staff, for all your hard work on this. I know it's a lot, but we appreciate it. All right, moving on to 5A, consideration and action regarding appointment of council subcommittees for board appointment. Vicki Vega, City Secretary.
Thank you, Mayor. This process does take place annually where, following the general election, where council chooses a subcommittee. Our current subcommittee is with Mayor Pro Tem Pelleggi, Councilmember St. Clair, and Councilmember Morrison. But yes, so you can either choose 3 new members or to appoint the 3 members to review applications and make appointments for the boards and commissions.
Okay. And I'm happy with that, with those 3. Would y'all be willing to serve again, or do you want somebody else want to step in? Sean, what do you think?
I mean, I'm going to school, so it's quite a bit.
You can say no.
I would like for someone else
Okay.
to step in.
Mary,
if that's
would you like to do this?
possible.
Okay. Brack, are you willing to return? Paul, are you willing to return? All right, it's going to be Brack, Mary, and Paul. Right, so what's the timeline for this?
I'll be providing the applications tonight so that the subcommittee can review them and hopefully make appointments the second meeting in June.
Okay. You think y'all can have back the second meeting in June? Sounds good. I guess I need a motion for that. Somebody want to make a motion for that?
Mayor, I move that we have a subcommittee, Mary, Brack, and Paul.
Okay. Have a second?
I'll second.
Sean, second? Please cast your votes. Motion passes. Look forward to hearing from y'all. Thank you, folks. 5B is election of Mayor Pro Tem, City Secretary Vicki Vega.
Again, this process does happen annually following the general election where council can appoint a new mayor pro tem or to re-elect the current mayor pro tem, which is Paul Pelleggi.
Okay. I have a motion?
Yeah, Mayor, I move that we select Paul Pelleggi as Mayor Pro Tem. I'll second.
Brack, second. Anyone else want to nominate anyone else for Mayor Pro Tem? If not, then I will say cast your votes.
Who was second?
Brack. Motion passes. Welcome back, Mayor Pro Tem. Paul, look forward to working with you. Appreciate it. And I'm going to executive session. I see nothing. So at 8:46, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, make a motion we adjourn.
Valerie, second. Please cast your votes. Motion passed at 8:46. We are adjourned. Thank y'all.